Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Retro Buzz. Glenn, we've got that name now.
Yep.
Patrick,
I feel like I've been getting stung quite a bit as of late.
Patrick has kind of dubbed us that, and he keeps telling us that we owe him money for that. But we've got Glenn Plemento here from Glenn's Retro Show, and he's in a new location, not in a cave. I like it.
No, I'm in a sub cave. This is actually the original cave.
Oh, okay, all right.
This is where it all this is before I started taking over the other rooms in my house. This is where it started, but uh one day we'll do a tour in here. This basement area is completely packed. So I had to go to my home theater room. I also have a room upstairs. Pretty soon the bathrooms, the attic, it's all gonna be taken over in time.
This is what we've got to do for a future show. You got to do a video, and we'll put it in here as preloaded, and then we'll show it because I think that would be
We
cool
can start we can start doing game hoarders.
at your house,
Maybe
right?
TLC will give us a contract. We'll get on there. No! No,
And
I don't take my box away. That cardboard box, I love that cardboard box. Don't do it.
that voice that you heard laughing, we've got a special guest here with us. Look at it. He's all like
California man.
Mr. John Diamonon.
No, you
Oh,
had it right the first
no,
time.
I had.
You had it right in pre-show. Say it again. Try it.
Do it. Do it.
Okay. John Diamonon. You could just call me John D. I've been John D since I was.
I did that on
I've
purpose.
been-
I did that on
I
purpose.
know. I was
Uh,
John D since kindergarten because no one could pronounce my last name.
that's why I did it. So no,
Mhm.
we were saying in pre-show, and I was like, well, that's how I would have pronounced it. And he's like, oh, that's right. Yeah, you can do that. But
I
anyways,
get it.
I get it, man. Glen Planet Memo, Glen Planet Tomato, Glen
There you go.
Planet Tomato.
The
Now
pal.
that's good. I haven't
Well,
thought of that.
the best one is Palamento. I kind of like that one because I am your pal,
Oh yeah,
but you know,
Planamento. Oh,
it is
so
what it is.
they forget the L in it.
Totally. Well, they swap it sometimes. Palamento
Ah,
instead of plan.
a
Kind
little
of Planamento.
dyslexia, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, anyway, so we've got John D with us here, and he's going to
Yeah.
talk to us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. Sure.
I think we ought to state this, Glenn. We were in pre-show and we were trying to do some stuff for you guys, and we were kind of slipping John some PayPal to divulge some secrets for CES that
Ooh.
maybe John says,
Right.
he said Scott's not going to be
Right.
happy with him after this show.
Yeah.
So
Nah.
I was at the New York office, but I was sworn to secrecy, and I take that seriously. John can do
Yeah.
whatever he wants.
yeah, John.
Well, I'm not a PR guy, right? So that's probably the worst position I am.
So in other
Uh,
words, David's going to be sitting there going, John, what are you doing, John? No, don't do that.
Oh,
We lost his
it's
cadet.
froze.
We lost his cadet. That's all right. That's a good picture of him. But no, joking around. But while we're waiting for John to get back up here, let's talk a little bit about some of the news that we've got for you guys. So, for those that don't know, Toy Shock, right? They started shipping their pinball machines
Yep,
this week.
yep. A lot of people have been getting them. Actually, Willie over at Arcade USA got his today, and he's really ecstatic. I mean, he like myself both like the haunted mansion or haunted castle, whatever that was called now. Um, it's a good one, and he's really seemed to like it, and a few other people have gotten it as well. So, P Dubs did an initial review of it,
Yep.
and as people are starting to get it in their hands, they seem to be agreeing with him that it's not perfect, but again, you're not talking a $4,000 or $5,000 pinball machine. You're talking
Right.
about a toy quarter scale pinball machine, and I'm still impressed they got it out for the price point that they did because I didn't think they can get it that cheap.
Well, and I blame P Dub for this, but I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it December 1st. As much as I didn't want to do it, I pre-ordered it. It's on the truck for either tomorrow or Sunday. That's at least what it says. It still says it's in California, but the last check was Wednesday, so they haven't updated the
On
shipping.
You know what? I'm still feeling it, but it was either that or a dishwasher, and I've been washing dishes now for about 7
Yeah.
months. And Black Friday came, that $400 had to go towards my new dishwasher, which thanks a lot, Home Depot. It was supposed to be delivered today, and waiting around for it, I get a message at noon. Hey, Glenn, great news! Your delivery's been changed. How was that great news? So now it's on the 20th.
Oh man.
I called. I said, "How do you figure that's great news? Great news is you will come with $50 additional. Here, take some cash and take the machine."
Yeah,
Now we're
really.
coming in another 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would go. Yeah, so that's definitely something that was more worth it.
Well, what's worse is if it was 2 more weeks out, I could have bought the pinball machine and saved a couple of dollars for the machine and coming in 2 weeks, so I got double screwed.
Oh man. John, have you seen
Yes.
have you seen this new pinball from Toy Shock that's out, the 3/4 scale? Have you checked
Yeah,
it out at all? Have you seen mock-ups of it?
I totally have. I've actually ordered one, so I'm still waiting for mine to come in. And you're
Sweet.
talking about, yeah, if you talk about 399 price point, that's pretty good. But you also have to think about, there's room for different types of pinball products like this. And if you see the video, I think it's really geared towards children, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, that commercial that they had, right, really featured children. And so you've got to look
Right.
at this product in that perspective, right?
Well,
You
actually,
know,
2 things. It was children and old men, so I qualify for the second part. They had the kids and the
yeah.
grandparents, so I'm
How
still
old are
good.
you? How old are
Oh,
you, Glenn?
I'm half a century. I'm 50, 50.
Oh, you're still young. You're
Oh, I
still
like
young.
this guy.
But what I was saying though, it's like when you gear a certain product to a demographic, there's certain expectations, right? If this is geared to more kids at a lower price point, then you can be a little bit more forgiving in terms of, say, input lag and frame rate, right? So I mean, the product is good for what it is, what I see. But I need to get under the hood to see all the features,
Well, I think that's with everybody here. I pre-ordered it. It was
right?
just mine, like I said, is supposed to be here any day now. And I know a lot of pinball purists. Glenn, we've seen them they're already complaining there's a little latency. But honestly,
Right.
I've been playing some virtual pinball on the Legends, which we'll get into a little bit. And yeah, there's a little bit of latency. Heck, there was latency when you and I were playing some stuff over the air. I mean, you're
Right.
gonna have that. But you know what? New Year's Eve is coming.
Mm,
And if we're having a bunch of people over, if people can play this and have a great time and be brought back to their days of pinball, I mean, we're not doing tournaments with these things. I mean, come on.
mm-mm.
Not yet.
Not well, that's true. Not yet. Until like ETA Prime gets his hands on something and starts modding it, and it becomes this massive explosion. But in all reality, I mean, if my kids and we can play on a Friday night after the show, I mean, that's great. That's the whole reason we even got like the Arcade1ups and all these other cabinets that we've
Right.
been getting. I mean, that's the
And
honest
what
truth.
and what's kinda neat about it is, again, P-Dub put it next to the Arcade1ups, and actually it complements them really nicely. So if you have some Arcade1ups, you want some pinball machines, they actually work well together size-wise. I was kinda hoping
Mm.
that maybe Arcade1up was actually a lot of people think for the past year, they were kinda hoping that next CES or
Ah,
the next CES, some of these virtual pinball machines will come out, and I still would like to see that. But
right.
if they don't go down that path just yet, these Toy Shock ones do complement the Arcade1up very nicely.
I mean, I think if it's three-quarter scale, I think it's still a little small, to be honest with you. I mean, I would like the legs to be a little taller. I mean, if
W
we
That's
were
the
making
modding
one,
community coming in for that stuff.
Yeah.
well, I mean, it really doesn't take much money to have adjustable legs.
Correct. No, I think he's absolutely right. I think Glenn, if they would have had some kind of like bolt structure where they could have just adjusted the bolts on it, we
Right.
could have we could have
But
done something like
we
that.
but we have to remember, again, the product's just coming out, and like John was saying a moment ago, there's no question it was initially marketed for kids.
Yes.
But they always seem to forget us big kids who were playing it when we were young and never grew up. So I think as they come up with their wave 2,
Yeah.
I guarantee you're gonna see adjustable legs. I guarantee you're gonna see probably an option. Don't quote me on this, but I'm gonna kinda jump here a little bit. I'm gonna bet even that back glass is removable with the scoreboards on.
Hmm.
You may see, a store with them that has a secondary monitor you can attach. So,
Hmm.
again, it's just the beginning stage. When any company comes out, whether it was Super Impulse, whether it was Arcade1up, whether it was Basic Fun, they're always gonna start at a low cost denominator. They have no idea how the market's gonna take it. They don't know if it's gonna be successful or a failure. Uh, Fortunately, so far, the company's been doing pretty well. Arcade1up came into the gate, some nice machines, and as we saw with their phase 2, they got feedback from us, seeing what people want, and they improved controls. They've improved a lot of things, the screens, the speakers, and they realized, you know what? They've heard people will pay a
Yeah.
little bit more for increased quality.
Yep.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, Marvel. There's no question about that. But again, when they first come out, they're going to be a little shy till they realize there's a market for them, and then they'll start opening the floodgates with better products.
No, I 100% agree with that. I think because I was a little bit taken off with it. I was like, I said to P Dub, I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy this because it did like you said, John, it looked small. It looked
Right.
like something that my son would play like, and when he said it next to the Arcade1ups, exactly what you said, Glenn, that kind of sold me because I was like, okay, I could work with that, with it's about as high as the Arcade1up control deck. So I thought, oh, okay, all right, well, I'll give it a whirl and we'll see how it goes. I mean, but that's they're shipping. So Glenn, next week's show, I should have one here, and I've already started looking at P-Dub's pictures on a way that I could put in some pieces so I could capture the screen, kind of like the way I do the Arcade1ups and the Legends arcade. So maybe I can
Yeah.
get that mod in at least before next week's show if I can get the pieces in time. Hopefully,
I
we
mean,
could have
I
some.
No,
have a
but
wish
John,
list.
John has
Go
young
ahead.
kids, right?
I do. I have a 8 and 10-year-old boy and girl.
Right. So this is something now you'll be able to again enjoy with them. I'm assuming it'll be not just you playing it; they'll probably be playing it quite a bit, and
Well,
hopefully pull them into pinball games.
well, exactly. I mean, that's why I bought it. I bought it for them. But also, I mean, if I were to have a wish list, if I'm going to make something for enthusiasts at a good price point, it'd have to have some minimum things I'd want to see in it. Definitely adjustable legs. That's a no-brainer. The bezel. I think there's a way to make a 27-inch monitor, but also have the bezel a lot thinner
Mhm.
by
Agreed on that one. Yeah.
having it recessed. If you have a glass on top, right, and you have it recessed, the bezel's recessed with the monitor underneath, I think that's one solution. I definitely think you have to have, again, this is for not my kids, but for us,
Oh, sure.
people who
Right.
want something very close to the $2,000, $3,000 V pinball machines. My wish list, like if I go down the list, I want high frame rate, over 60 frames per second. I want the monitor to have pretty much lagless. You don't want to have flipper lag, because if I'm trying to control multiple balls, I want to be able to even just switch from one flipper to the other. And if you
Mm.
don't have that, if you don't have the right, well, if you have input lag, it's just going to be floating. You won't be able to control it. Also, what I've noticed is that they have numeric displays, and that's good for, say, like the 70s and 80s games, which they do have from Gottlieb, right? But if you're gonna go to kind of like the later games, like the Williams and Bally's, you're gonna have to have something that kind of mimics a dot matrix display, a DMD. So
Right.
I would want something like a maybe a 7-inch at least secondary display to mimic a DMD. I noticed that they have a nudge button. My wish list would be have something real, to really recognize real nudging. Basically, have an accelerometer in there to basically figure out what the real tilt is instead
So
of a
you
nudge
want
button.
so you want Apple to develop this pinball is what you're saying, right? No, I'm
But
just
wait a
okay.
second. He said a good price point, not four
Well,
Well,
thousand
that's
the
dollars
price
true.
or
point,
That's
you have
ten
to
true.
thousand
Good
yeah,
point.
dollars.
you have to, you get what you pay for a lot.
Yep.
But I think what Arcade1up's been able to do is really get a lot of good value for the right price point. You know, having accelerometer in there, and then of course being able to swap out the back panel display. Having solenoids, I think, would be amazing, right? Real
Yeah.
haptic feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
Having all that stuff. But see, the thing is, you can't do that for $399. Glenn, you know
Right.
this as far
Right.
as much as
Right.
I do.
Be-
Uh,
because it's not just the hardware. You got to pay for marketing. You got to pay for box art. You got to pay the licensing fees. You need to pay, shipping. That's a big killer here. People don't realize these things are not small, even 3/4 scale. They're wood and they're large, and shipping is expensive. These are all costs that a company has to, plus paying the employees. You got to, you know, John's got to feed his kids. So
right.
all these different things. It's not like you're at home. And to be honest, I build a lot of stuff at home myself,
Yep.
and you may save a little money, but you're spending a lot of time sanding, trimming, wiring.
Right.
That's a lot of work that Arcade1up and other companies are taking out of your hands. I mean, these machines here, I mean, I love these suckers. I mean, I walk into a room, we've talked about it, John, many times on
Right.
many of my different things. When you walk into a room and you see these things lit up here and playing, that's an experience we had as kids in the arcades.
The
And
sights and
other
sounds.
machines, exactly. So you're not getting the same experience with an all-in-one machine. that's a different type of market. But if you want to
It
come
is.
in and have all your machines lined up that you remember as a kid, I mean, here you go. Here's
Look at
Steven's
that. It's
setup.
amazing.
Right. That's
Dude.
a that's an experience that kids today will never really know unless you
Nope.
have something like this at your house.
100%, Glenn. And like you said, there are different products for different age groups and different price points, and I think there's room for it all, right? That's why Toy Shop for $3.99 for my kids is great. But if we want something a little bit, fancier, a little bit more bells and whistles, that's what we have to think about. Like, what's going to be for a main consumer who can't spend 3,000 on a B pin, but maybe can spend say 500. All right.
But I mean, look at Walmart. Walmart had a
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars one for almost $2,000,
Yep.
and it was no bigger.
Walmart.com.
What's that?
Walmart.com. Walmart.com.
Right, but that's what I
Different.
mean. And
Right,
it
right.
was the same size as the Toy Shock. Now, granted,
Yep.
it was like I think it was a real pin where I had
It's real pin.
so
Right.
but it wasn't like what I think what you guys would classify as high quality, something that you're going to find in an arcade. It was more like, again, a toy, but for $2,000, somebody's not going to buy that for their kid for Christmas or anything. You're not going to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well,
I agree.
that's what the big thing is with a virtual pinball type of machine is with that having LCD panels, you can get more value because you have more machines on it than just that Star Wars. Which again, I remember that one; it was nice, but I would never drop $2,000
No.
on something like that. First of all, it would get use, but would not get as much use as a machine that can mimic multiple pinball machines.
Yep.
But there's a trade-off, and that's what the purists always come after you for: the ball dynamics,
Yep.
the flippers. It'll never be a true machine, but what we talked about before, when you buy an Arcade1up or you buy another machine, you are not looking for that experience. If you're looking for that experience,
Go
prepare
buy
to
a
spend
$5,000. Yep.
exactly, and then you have to worry about maintenance up the wazoo. The smaller machines are easy to like. I've moved these around. I have to move that other one around to pain. It's just a very different thing. I mean, yes, people will go out and spend that kind of money and do it. But that's not what these are. You're talking about going out and buying a Lamborghini because you could afford it and got the space, or you
Right.
want to get maybe a Porsche or that new Mustang EV they're coming out with. There's different levels of everything.
Right.
But your expectations have to be set right. And I
They
think a
have
lot of
to.
people, again, and John will agree with me on this, and both you guys agree with me on this. People want to buy an Arcade1up for $300 or $400, but they're expecting a $1,000 or $2,000 machine, and the expectations are way off. That's just not the way it's
Exactly.
going to be.
Exactly. Well, I think, John, you guys have a bigger problem. So if Scott and David are listening, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is your biggest
Right.
problem right now that you have. So listen
Tell us.
closely. The problem is, how are you going to fit all these machines that you're coming out with in my basement? Because my wife,
So,
no, and I'm being
Right.
funny here, because my wife's like,
No,
where are you?
no.
I want to collect them. I want to get the Burger Time when it comes out. That's one of my favorite
Exactly.
games. And people are like now having to pick and choose because they're like me and Glenn. We've got like 10, 12 machines here. It's like, well, where do we put them?
But hold on.
Well, that's
You
what
don't have to
the
pick and choose.
counter cables.
You don't have to pick and choose. I mean, for me, I have one right next to my refrigerator.
Yeah.
Have one in my
There we go.
Wait, John,
Yeah.
stop right there. Are
Yeah.
you married?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And your wife lets you do that?
Well, first of all,
No,
John, what are you
I
doing?
just
I
do
know
it.
for a fact they have the refrigerator bottoms for
Yep.
these Arcade1ups. Why don't you just
Oh,
do
there you
that?
go. There you
Hey, yeah,
go.
we're looking into that. We will have that very soon. So exactly,
there we
the
go.
functional furniture, right? So
That's it.
instead of
The wife
instead
can't
of having
complain.
instead of having a futon, why don't you put a head-to-head,
Right.
cocktail table,
Or
right?
an Arcade1up /
See,
dishwasher. You have
I,
the Arcade1up on top, you have a dishwasher on the bottom. There's
Exactly.
John,
lots of
I
possibilities.
wanted to run them down
There's
the other
lots.
side of the room. I've got 2 couches there, and my wife won't let me remove the couches. She said we need them for where people sit.
No,
So
no, don't remove the couch. Say, you know what, honey, this table, this food, this end table. Why don't you just put a Black Series Pac-Man in it? And then
That's what
instead
I
of
want to do.
Right,
Yep.
instead of having a drawer for our kids, why don't we just mod something so the inside is like a drawer?
yeah,
The
there you go.
bottom is a drawer for the underwear.
I hear a modding contest. This sounds like a good mod contest. I like these
Exactly.
ideas.
Functional furniture. So
That's
you
it.
always have room.
So
There's always square footage in your room.
So Glenn, we could sit there and
Your
say, John D said that this is how we take care of. So the next time the community members complain and say we have no room for this stuff,
No, you have room.
John's got the solution here for us, right?
I've got the solution.
All right, so let's talk real quick so we can get into some Arcade1up. Glenn, it's been a busy week too with the Legends Ultimate cabinet. For those guys that are watching, they released a brand new firmware, 3.0.16, and
There's actually a couple different releases.
that's
That was
true.
one of them. There's
I'll
actually
let
4.
you handle the beta one because you've been playing with that. Where I have no intentions of hooking a Raspberry Pi up to this, so I'll let you handle that one and go. But the 3.0.16, I found that it broke my UCE files.
Right.
And they did say that there was a new add-on tool, which was great. Hey, we did it. And I said to them, I said, hey, does that mean I have to rebuild all my UCE files? And they're like, yeah. And PK, as great as he is, I said, that's not really a good experience. I think a lot of people are going to be upset about this. And he said, you're right.
Not were.
They are. So
they are.
they went and they thought they had a fix for it. They put out the full patch, Glenn, and something's still broke in it. So they had suggested to everybody the stable firmware to stay on is 3.0.11 as they take some time. As Ralph always says, let it bake in the oven a little bit more, right? So they're going to do that.
He had, I get it.
Yeah. So we're gonna suggest to everybody stay on 3.0.11 at least till they get that going. If you don't need the 2-player mapping right now, it's best to stay on it. I'm on one of the beta builds of 3.0.16, and I'm not having any problems, but this was pre-fix. So those guys are working hard at getting that going, but we just want to let the community know that they are working on a fix for it. It is coming.
Right.
Be patient.
I'm going to put this to Tesla with their auto summon. Just because the feature's there doesn't mean that it should be released just yet. I see a lot of Teslas, backing up into the vehicles, not going right because they're releasing some things probably before they're ready. And I do think that they have to. I know they're trying to show everyone they're putting the best foot forward and trying to give all these features out there, but sometimes you might be going too fast and you start having bad experiences with people, like having to redo hundreds of their files. Or in case of Retro Ralph, we had a problem with his machine that that could have been probably not as bad as it turned out to be for him. He kind of jumped the gun on doing some things to it, but again, test it properly. So when you're releasing something, it's a stable build. It's almost like where they're giving us alphas or even pre-alphas, and they're releasing to the public the betas. It really shouldn't be that way. The end user should not be put as a test bed. They should be getting the solid software at that point.
I 100% agree with you. So, guys, I mean, it's not the end of the world. These guys have been very communicative. They've been, back and forth. But Glenn, why don't you take the beta? There's also a 3.0.13b, I want to say, for Bluetooth, correct?
Right. So the original Bluetooth, so you connect a Raspberry Pi or a PC, only mapped the player one controls. I'm currently testing one that does map out both controls, and for the most part, it works very well. There's only one game so far, Robotron, which is a game, of course, everyone wants to play with dual joysticks, has been giving a problem. I have full 8 directionals on my left, but only 4 directionals on the right. But my other favorite games like Crazy Climber and Smash TV work fine. So I'm not sure yet if it's actually the ROM. I've tried a couple of Robotron ROMs that seem to be doing the same thing, but I'm going to try it again with like a desktop PC. But again, I think it'll be a nice feature to have because you can have not only two independent controls going at the same time if you want a friend, but those classic games like Smash TV, Robotron, even actually it was brought to my attention. I forgot about it. Battlezone. Battlezone actually used 2 joysticks to drive your tank. So I mean that's all good and fine. And I'm glad they're listening to us and adding the features, which is great. But I do want them to really make sure everything's stable before they push it out.
No, I 100% agree with you, and I think the community has kind of stated that as well. But we kind of want to let you know also with the Arcade1up, Glenn, page 1 is fine. All the games play fine, but when you get to page 2 and 3, the artwork is all black. So there was something that was missing inside of there. Also, any game that had the down arrow, which you guys know that you can't play in the cloud, those are not loading either. So that's why they recommend if you want to play those games on Arcade1up, stay on 3.0.11 to let them get this situated, and then hopefully put it out to us beta testers, and we can kind of hopefully get to the bottom of it, right, and get everything situated.
Right.
And the other bad thing too that we found is if you do go to 3.0.16 and you do a factory reset, Glenn, you're going to reset back to 3.0.16. So if you need the factory reset, find a buddy or find a link. They've been providing them to the 3.0.7 or 3.0.11, and then restore your machine so that way you can get back
Right.
to the over-the-air. Don't do it from 3.0.16. You're going to run into just problems. Yeah.
Yep.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way, all the news, and got you guys covered, John, now we can kind of dive into these Arcade1ups, because I mean, you guys started
even
all.
before we get to the Arcade1up, John, if I'm not mistaken, you used to work at Capcom. Was that like some of your gaming work history?
Wow.
I want to get
Yeah,
a little bit more about your background.
for sure. So I've been in the video game industry for almost 25 years. I started as a game tester for Sega, testing Genesis, 32X, Saturn games. Then I moved over to PlayStation. I was a third-party tester there, and then worked in creative services there. And then for the past, I say, 11 years, I was at Capcom doing marketing and licensing. And then I got poached over to Arcade1up, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's excellent. So you actually have a really good, solid background with the industry. So that's actually a big thing for Arcade1up to have, especially the licensing part. So you have a lot of contacts with these game companies, right?
That's why they hired me. Scott and the crew, their background is the toys, and they really found out, like, the toy industry has kind of been going down in the past few years. But what they did see as one of the segments in the growth industry in the toy business was retro gaming. So they got into, they basically rode the wave, and they needed people, who knew the video games business and the industry and had the connections for licensing for sure.
So with
Excellent. And I know you travel with Scott a lot of times back and forth to like Japan and China to kind of work out these deals and see, things you can work into your products, correct?
Gosh, almost every other week it seems, for sure. My family don't like it too much, but it's okay.
I think the whole toy industry's gone down because of the electronics, the games and stuff.
Yeah,
All their kids have iPads or iPhones or some
Right.
kind of tablet of some sort that they play their games on. And
Well, this may sound stupid, but you just made a good point there, Steve. Is even my son now probably learned it from me. His phone is in his face or his tablet's in his face.
yep.
When you have stuff like this around, you can actually engage them again. It's still a game, but at least
yeah,
you, as father son, father daughter, father kids, even the wife gets in Centipede. They like Centipede or Pac-Man. So again, it's a way to re-engage your family again versus everyone having a phone and tablet in their face.
that's very true. That's very true. I mean, even with my kids, I'm introducing them to these games like Pac-Man and Centipede, and we're playing locally, of course, next to each other and having conversations that way. So it's different when my son's playing with one of his pop toys or his figures. But these are the new toys, and it's interactive, so I think it's cool.
We said
Oh, I
about
think we can agree with that. We agree with
yeah.
that one.
We said about that. My son's actually, he's over there right now. He's playing over here. He's playing Dig Dug. As you
Look
guys
at
can
that.
see, he's over there playing
Oh
on.
yeah,
He's playing.
that's old school.
Yep, yep. So for him, and Glenn, I don't know if your son's what, 12, 13?
He's 14 now.
He's
14
14.
going on 38.
So with
Like my daughter.
your son like playing these retro games. I know my son, he thought he was like in heaven because he had never seen any of these games. He's going to school telling people, "Hey, I got Rampage in my basement." And the kids are like looking at him like from Mars, like what's Rampage,
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of funny. Is your son a lot like that too, Mr.
Are you
Glenn?
talking to me or Glenn?
Oh no, sorry. I
Glenn.
was I was I
But
was saying Glenn, is your son like that? Was he more kind of like in shock that we actually played these games, or it was,
well, you know what? You have to. My kid probably has been gamingly abused by me. You know, um, when he's over his friend's house, they're playing like Nintendo Switch or Xbox One or PlayStation 38. And he goes to my house, and an Atari 2600, a ColecoVision, and Intellivision, and his friends come over like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's the game system." They're like looking at it like, "What the heck? What is this?" But then they play the games. They play them.
yeah.
Okay, they'll go back as Nintendo. Like I have Nintendo too, but I still have the classics around. So when my son was growing up, as soon as he was able to play a game, he was playing Atari. He was playing Intellivision and ColecoVision. That's what he kind of grew up on. And I finally got him onto Nintendo NES. So he's a little more into that. But I think now he looks back at me and goes, "Dad, you abused me. You truly you did." But now he's only into two things now anyway. It's Minecraft and Fortnite. I mean,
That's how my
that's
son
it.
is. My son's the same way. He even asked that before. What about you, John? Your kids, since you kind of were in the Capcom scene and Mega Man and all the good stuff with
Yep.
Sega.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, my kids basically were playing a lot of consoles, and when I started working at Arcade1up, it was cool because you know how when they play next to an Arcade1up machine, it looks like a full-size arcade.
Yep.
It's hilarious, you know. But you know, I've taught my son how to do a Hadouken, and he can almost do a Shoryuken on call. My daughter loves Mega Man. That's more of her speed. But you know, with these Arcade1up machines, you know, they've really never seen those before, so they definitely think it's cool, and they end up going to the office a lot and playing it. And I get to teach them like all the Pac-Man patterns. They're really into that now, so I'm trying to teach them how to play Pac-Man and using all the different patterns. So they think that's really cool.
I think it's neat to have, like, even when you start modding the Arcade1ups, like my son watched me and kind of doing, just seeing the internals of how it works and different things like that. I think it's a whole, like, we had his birthday party here,
Yeah.
and I was like, my in-laws own a pizza place, so we don't even have to pay for pizza. So it was like, why go to Chuck E. Cheese? We've got Chuck E. Cheese here in the basement, and and it doesn't cost anything. Well, except for the initial purchase, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, why?
But even
Why
that's
bother?
changing. They're taking all the animatronics out.
True.
Is it really Chuck E. Cheese, but none of those big scary guys going around anymore? You know,
We could just record you
That is
doing
good.
that, and then we'll just put that up on the TV, right?
What's that creepy old man doing up on the stage, Mom?
Can't be any creepier than Chuck E. Cheese with the fucking
So
eyelashes.
Oh, you ain't kidding, man. They were scary as a kid. I remember the first time I went to a Chuck E. Cheese in New Jersey back in got to be 79, 78.
but wait.
They were pretty
Was it
creepy.
called Chuck E. Cheese back in '79? I thought it was Showbiz
No.
Pizza. Showbiz
Oh.
Pizza, right?
Hold on, I think John just lost something through his nose there. Kind of.
It's Friday, guys.
Wait a
Don't worry
second. Wait a
about it.
second. That's gonna be a meme for if somebody got that. If I was on camera for that, or if I had him on camera, you guys got a meme on that. That'll be floating around the internet, John.
That's it.
Really? There you go.
But
That's why I'm not in
But-
PR, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
that's exactly it. But let's switch gears again and go back to some of the stuff at Arcade1up now. CES is coming up. CES is coming up.
Yes.
It's not far off at all. And
Correct.
historically, I mean, we've only got one CES to go by, but historically, we've had some new products announced by Arcade1up. Now, I don't know what you can and cannot say,
Mm.
but if there is any hints or anything you can tell us about, we'd love to hear anything you have.
Burger time.
Well, the good thing, right? Well, so Burger Time will definitely be there. That's already been announced. So
Yeah.
it was supposed to come out this year. It'll come out early next year, we promise. But the good thing is you don't have Scott and David here. They don't tell secrets. I'll tell some secrets if you guys are okay with that. That's cool.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so-
cool.
We're
I won't
we're,
tell anybody. I promise.
we're laughing
Don't
because
tell.
Scott's in the chat room and he's like, "Be nice to my boy John."
Don't turn my swigging into a meme, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have about, I think, 4 products that we're going to reveal. And so how we choose this is, we don't choose what games come out. It's we let the community choose. And so we basically scour like message boards and and our fan pages, and we want to really basically release what the fans want. So
Well, wait. If you're going to
Remember-
tell us
yeah.
what those titles are,
yes.
since Glenn probably knows, can I take a guess at what those titles would be, and then you can tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong? If you're
Me personally?
divulging this.
If you
Me
want to do it that
personally,
way.
he can. Me, I can't. I take those NDAs and
No,
I
no,
promise-
you
I
can't, but
promise
if-
David,
Yeah.
I can't.
But if
No.
I guess, and if you're going to tell, and
Mhm.
let's see if I can get. You said you listen to the community. There's 4
Okay.
titles right now. So I would have to say a Simpsons 4-player is coming. Now, mind you, I have no insight. Nobody's told me nothing. I just know because that's what people have been screaming for. Simpsons 4-player.
Okay.
Burger Time, obviously, we know is coming.
100%.
That's 100%. That's a given. Okay.
Right.
Dragon's Lair, Scott already alluded to that Dragon's Lair was going to come if we could get, I think, 1,000 people that wanted it.
Wait, hold on. So there was a community, basically a petition going around, and Derek, I think, started that.
Yep.
Right? You guys got about 1,000 signatures within 24 hours. You really think between now and CES that we can actually have a demo of Dragon's Lair?
Yes, because I think I think he was already planning that, and he just kind of used that to slip that out and sneak it out to the. That's just my 2 cents. If that is, that's marketing. That's good marketing.
I will tell you the difficulties on that. When you're talking about trying to emulate, not just emulate, port a Laserdisc game into the hardware environment that we have currently, and really, it's very difficult, right? There's really 2 ways to do it: using the Daphne emulator, which has its share of issues, as well as possibly the one from Digital Leisure, the remixed version or remastered version from their Android and mobile. I just don't think it's realistic to expect that we have something with Dragon's Lair.
Well,
not to be honest with you.
Just being the person that I am, and being Dragon's Lair, the type of game that it is, it would be easy to throw in a 1989 Laserdisc.
You can find one,
or DVD player. I actually meant to say a DVD player, and get the Digital Leisure DVD. You pop the DVD player in there. You can watch movies on your Arcade1up, play some Dragon's Lair, Space Ace. Just saying, it doesn't have to be the Arcade1up hardware. Throw a DVD player in there. They could do. I can have up and running tonight.
Yeah, I could say we are going to do Dragon's Lair. We're talking to the people of Digital Leisure because of there is demand for it, but having it at CES is pretty unrealistic.
Okay, so that we knew that was coming. So that falls into the Burger Time THQ cabinet as well. So that's stuff that people already know. Tron is another one that people have been screaming for, and I think Glen's to blame for that. Because Tron is something else that I think the Simpsons 4-player, the NBA Jam was another 4-player that I think those, if I had to guess right now, it would be Burger Time, NBA Jam, the Simpsons 4-player, and Tron. Those would be my 4 guesses for CES. Again, I know nothing about it. I'll tell you, Glen hasn't told me nothing, and I never asked him because I wouldn't ask him to break his NDA. But those are my guesses.
I mean, I think those are good guesses. I don't know if that's exactly what the community wants. From our research, these are the 4 games that we'll be showcasing. So we're gonna have something that centers around Bubbles.
Bubble Bobble?
You guys know that thing? No, Bubbles, not Bubble Bobble.
Bubbles. Oh, Bubbles.
Yeah, Bubbles from Williams. You're basically in a kitchen sink, and you play the soap bubble, and you got to go around the drain.
Yep.
It's great at teaching kids how to clean. I love that.
Yes, right. Bubbles. We're gonna have the Bubbles arcade. We're gonna have the Bubbles arcade version, and it's gonna be with the Bubbles artwork, and then we'll have the Bubbles 2600 version with it. Bubbles Commodore 64, and Bubbles Odyssey. So
nice.
That's one. Yeah, right. And then the second cabinet.
Wait a second. You can't just drop this and not have any mock-up images. Come on, Scott. You're in the chat room.
I'm not gonna bring. Why don't you wait till CES?
Oh, hey, this is part of what we do. We try to get as much out of you guys as we can, so that people can.
We try to tell you what we're showcasing. So, that's Scott's like calling me up right now saying. Hey,
I figured he's probably calling. He's like, "Don't do it." Okay, go ahead. I don't.
So we know that our research says that Bubbles is on everyone's top 10 list, right? So that's that.
Okay.
The second one will be the Atari Classics version 2, 118 Atari games with console versions and arcade versions. Some games may have 3 or 4 versions: 2600 arcade, 5200, 7200. So there's that. The third game will be Pong, Breakout, Super Breakout, and Warlords. And then the fourth game is the basketball game that everyone has been wanting to play. And we're finally bringing out. It's called Double Dribble. It's going to be Double Dribble, the NES version. not the arcade version, because we couldn't get rights to the arcade version.
Now,
NES version is pretty.
was that a nicotine thing you were smoking before? Or was something else in that you were smoking? I'm
What? Where? I was just gonna say.
He is, it's illegal in California, right? It's not legal here. I'm just wondering.
It is
when
legal in
taking those
California.
puffs,
John,
I do not smoke marijuana because it gets me super paranoid. So this is nicotine.
Okay.
So the 4 games, the basketball game that everyone wants to play is Double Dribble, the NES version, because it's fairly close to the arcade version. So there you go. That's the CES lineup that everyone wants to see.
All right. So now that you've snowed the whole community, how about give us the real titles?
Those were the real titles. You guys don't like that title list? I got 118, not 117 games.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Wait. I'm smelling something. So good.
No, he's doing a good job, because I was gonna say, if that's your market research, man, you better go back to the drawing board.
Bubbles from Williams has been always in everyone's top 10.
It has. We're in the bathtub and they go, Bubble.
Yeah. You can teach your kids to clean.
Yeah.
All of that stuff and avoid different enemies.
So basically, everyone needs to wait. CS is not that far off. CS is not that far off. I can't say a thing, but I will say that
you have a lot of people. You have a lot of people in the chat room like going, he's not serious. Like they're gonna throw away their CES like that. Well, you know what? I have played that Bubbles game. I don't know if I would buy a cabinet of it, but it's
a cabinet with Warlords on. I mean, for me, Breakout, Warlords, Pong. I'd go for that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
But I highly doubt that's on today's
wait a second.
top 10 list.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, so like, okay, Scott and everybody's trolling everybody right now because this is the Glen's Retro Show cabinets that they're releasing.
Yeah,
that's what's actually happening here.
I'm on board. I mean, all these games I'm on board. However, if they do this, I guarantee I'm gonna walk down the street and Negan wannabes, and we know Negan wants me now. I'm gonna be bludgeoned to death because it's gonna be my fault that they came out with a 2600 118 selection. Cabinet. So, yeah.
So in all seriousness, we tried.
Well, hold on. Let me say this: there is going to be a lot of surprises for CES, a lot of unexpected things. Some expected or not, but we are gonna come out with a fire. We're gonna come out with a lot of new cabinets and different categories. Exactly.
Sorry, real quick. So when you come up with these new games, like with Star Wars, and I know the Burger Time, are the cabinets now going to be a little more stylized?
That's a good question.
Or is it still going to be the standard one? I'm fine with either, but I do think like the Star Wars one just had that better look of the cabinet,
or
just made it
Burger
that
Time.
much more tantalizing for people.
I agree.
And the Burger Time has now the design. So is that now part of what you're going to be doing?
Yes. So there are going to be titles that are going to look closer to how they looked originally. Burger Time is one of them. Of course, you saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
And there'll be other titles that, if they didn't have an iconic look, they'll continue to stay within our shark fin line look. So, yeah, we are definitely going to vary the form factors. It's going to be from a case-by-case basis.
So just because I'm seeing comments come by, I'm Glenn, I'm trying to keep up with a little bit of this.
Same here.
So guys, keep your comments coming if you have to, at Glenn or at myself, so we can repeat this to John. In all seriousness, and you don't have to say, yes, it's coming out this year or next year, but their questions are coming in. You've all seen the mods for the driving cabinets. I believe Retro Ralph did one. Some of the guys from 99 Arcades have been doing it. Is there a future in making an official one that's not modded that you guys, Arcade1up, is going to bring out for those that are racing enthusiasts?
Super Sprint, 1990 or 80.
You know what?
Use the spinner.
Super Sprint is one of my favorite games, but you know how difficult it would be, the customer service issues with Super Sprint. I used to like tear that wheels, around so much. We're looking to every type of game, and it's got to come out at the right price point. It's got to come out with quality. So I guess that's kind of a general kind of statement saying we're looking at everything. Ooh, that was such a PR answer.
It was.
Like that, David? You like
It
that,
was.
David? You got that from
David's
me.
feeding you lines. I know it. David's on your
Dave-
screen over there feeding you lines.
He's telling me, he's texting me, say this.
You know, David's telling you that. Scott's telling me to push you. Like let's
Really?
go. Push
Okay.
him.
You know what? Okay, I'll say this.
The triangle.
You know, why don't you let us know what driving tiles you want us to put in? Because there's a whole
That's
bunch
fine,
of
but
them, right?
is the concept? I guess that's the question they want to know before
Right.
they start. Is the concept? Is it something you're entertaining at this time? We're not saying
Well,
divulge it.
I'll
Obviously,
say this. I'll say this. I didn't think we were going to be able to do a Star Wars Yoke, right? And do it with high quality and make
That's
it
true.
a commercial product at a right price point. You know, those yokes were coming out, and Glen knows those yokes were like $500. We were able to make
Yeah.
something very similar at a consumer price where the entire cabinet was 500. So if you could do that, I think you could do other things that's very
Right.
similar.
Okay.
Right. And
Yeah.
I will say, I was a little skeptical as well. I was talking to Scott for quite some time about, mine, which I'm still in the process of doing. And I was surprised when I was with David when I went to New York and I got my hands on that flight yoke. And the quality is very, very good. Again, he's talking about the whole cabinet. The cabinet's redesigned. It looks like the
Yep.
machine. It comes with the riser. It comes with the light up marquee. But the key is that yoke. And the yoke really did feel good. It didn't feel,
Didn't feel
no
cheap.
disrespect, it didn't feel like the spinner from the Astros machine. It wasn't like something like
Right.
that where you expected a control for a game and it just wasn't right. It felt really good. And I think everyone who's gotten the Star Wars machine has said the same thing. They were impressed with the screen. They were impressed
Yep.
with the sound. They were impressed with the controls, but also you guys did a custom emulator for that. The emulator that's running on there is not a typical MAME emulator,
Nope.
and it's
So we don't use
the
MAME.
no, you don't. And
We don't
the
use MAME,
different
and we don't
features
use
in
FBL.
there, the different lighting effects, the different
Yep.
vector things, that's you guys went above and beyond for that.
Yep.
And that's what it takes because, you know, these things are basically a product of our childhood, right? And we're hypercritical on our memories and having representations of these arcade boards that kind of match what we played when we were young. You know, you bring up emulation, and you know we could have went cheap and just put whatever MAME or FB Alpha version was, but we don't do that. We definitely use real development companies, real proprietary emulation, and not just emulation, actual real porting to make sure you have an authentic arcade experience.
Right.
That's one thing that we do that no other, and I can tell you this, that no other retro company does. People slap on what the community's done and profits on that. We actually spent, I would say, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and not over $1 million just for development to make sure that we're not taking advantage of the community. We're actually using real developers who understand the game. So we use Code Mystics who love Star Wars and they have a passion for it. So when they're developing the game, like you now have different options when you go into the UI. I mean that was a product of people really caring about the game. We
Well,
take
Right.
that seriously.
And before you mention, I was going to mention their name, but I want to say
Yep.
that, I had to do a lot of research, a lot of digging, and I found the developer
Yep.
for that. So it absolutely was not just a MAME being put on there. It was an emulator that was written specifically for the Star Wars cabinet. So they actually did do that, and it shows in how well it plays. I remember a lot of complaints were coming through saying that when your ship would get hit, the screen would turn like a brownish gray because the MAME emulator didn't do that, and that's what people
Nope.
have been playing since the '80s. And then it turns out, you know what? The real arcade machine actually did that, and people didn't realize it. So that's how good that emulator went. And like I said, just I was more taken back with the different vector effects that
Yep.
were added as well. I mean, it looks beautiful when you pick those other modes. It's just really nice job.
My son and I on Black Friday, GameStop had one in. It was the first time I got to get my hands on it because, like I said, I haven't gotten it yet. But we were playing it, and I said, "Oh, good, it's set up. I can actually feel it." Because Glenn, you've been saying like the controls, it just feels so good. And my son's like, "Dad, can we get this?" But it was neat because it had resistance to it, like you would expect,
Yep.
like a real arcade would. When you grab a
Right.
steering wheel, folks, I guess this is the best way I can explain it. When you grab a steering wheel in the arcade on one of those, and the tight feeling that you have with it, that's how this yoke is. It was really firm. It like Glenn said, it wasn't cheap. You could tell. So I mean,
Yep.
that's a testament. That's a really good point to bring up.
and I'm very proud with our engineering team, our product design team. We have a team called ThinkUp that really takes these things seriously. I mean, we have people you know, who have the real arcade cabinets, and we have them tested out, and they tell us, okay, well, the tension is too strong here. You loosen it
Mm-hmm.
up because when you're talking about a game like Star Wars, when all the fireballs are coming out, right? You need to have something where you can just go, like shoot them all in one string, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that it all lines up, and that authenticity is important to us.
So
I'm really glad you said that because if that's what I've been saying since day one is the game screen, the game artwork. I mean, it could
Yep.
look like a nice cabinet, but the controls is the interface of the human to that game. And again, with Star Wars, that interface is you shouldn't think about it. When you have to
No.
think about the controls, you're losing the immersion. You want to grab
Yep.
that and just react. And that control yoke does exactly that. And again, you're talking about a $500 cabinet where everything you got there, it's phenomenal that they were able to pull it off.
So one of the questions came up in the chat room, along with
Sure.
all on the lines of new stuff. They highlighted me, so I want to make sure I say this. So 6-player Time Crisis, X-Men, a 6-player
Sure.
cabinet, something that we could maybe see down the road. Now that we've gotten 4-player cabinets, is that something that fits into that 3/4 scale model? Is it
You
something that
can't
you?
fit. Hold on. Let's talk about that, right? How many six-player games have been out there? I know there's the X-Men Konami game that has 6 players and had dual screens, right? You know how expensive that would be? I don't know if that's feasible. I understand that people want it. We have to make commercial products. I'll tell you one thing. We're looking at everything. We're talking about everything. We're talking to every publisher. We look at what everyone wants in their wish list. A 6-player X-Men. I mean, can you fit 6 people around a 3/4 scale? I guess you'd have to make it wider. You'd have to put 2 screens. It's possible. I don't know. Maybe a very limited edition. Again, I'm not confirming or denying anything. I'm just telling you the challenges I see with having
Oh
a
no,
six
no.
player
I listen.
version.
I'm just repeating what the. I mean,
Right.
Oh no, for
I,
sure.
honestly, like we had Thanksgiving in our house, and I don't know if I told you this, Glenn, but having 4 people around the turtles cabinet, you're shoulder to shoulder, and we're
Right.
rather 180-pound
Right.
people, and we're not like
Well, the
obese, and
other
it was
thing,
tough.
the other thing we talked about it before is you don't necessarily have to have a cabinet with 6 controls on it. You could do perhaps two
Controllers.
independent machines you can buy if you wanted
Oh,
to,
Oh
linking
and
it
yeah.
you link them
together.
up, but you link them together with a cable. Just
Oh,
you could sell like a machine that's got three, and if you really want to have six, you buy another cabinet,
It's
you link
true.
it, and now you have the six. Just
that's
free
interesting.
advice from Glenn's Retro Show. Just I
Thank you.
give
Thank you.
freely.
Thank
This
you.
goes out there.
You know, how much money? How much money do you have?
Well, again, as everyone knows, and again have to thank my co-host here. All my stuff is left over from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and I
No, I
reused
get
stuff.
it.
My camera here was a 320 by 240 camera up until 2 episodes ago when you
Yeah.
got me this camera.
Hey,
I
you know what?
reuse everything.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. My dream cabinet. I'm not saying we're gonna make this. So I want an 8-player Daytona,
Oh
where you
yeah,
can link it all up, and everyone's playing on one huge, you know, 60, 55-inch screen on top. You have the signage over there. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Is it commercially feasible? I don't know. But
Right.
the idea of linking cabinets is interesting for sure.
well, I definitely would love to see. I mean, if you want to do this right, I want to see a 8-player um, Indy 500, Atari 2600 version.
Really?
Because you can just use
Eight
the little
player.
paddle on
Okay.
there, and you
Uh-huh.
can basically use an old Pico projector that's like a low
Oh
res
my
200 by 200 resolution on
goodness.
the wall.
Oh,
So
you said
we can
Pico.
make this feasible. And since you guys are working on
Yeah.
with 2600, we can make it happen.
So Glenn,
Okay.
because of that
Go in the
statement,
comments if you agree.
it's because of that statement, people are dropping off. No, I'm
Yeah, they're
just kidding.
dropping off. They're just
They're
Oh,
like,
leaving viewers
"Oh,
left and
Glenn,
right
here
now.
we go." Some people are like,
well,
no, four is good. I think four
well, let's.
is decent. Go ahead, Glenn.
I would say you finish that up. I would bring up a point after you're done. Go ahead.
No. I was agreeing with I'm trying to watch the chat room here too. So sorry guys if we're
Gotcha.
all over the place, and I'm not trying to interrupt Glenn here, but I agree. 4 players I think is a sweet spot. If I have to be honest, I don't have 6 people in my family. It's great that the 4 of us can play Turtles when we want to play it. I think going outside of that, Glenn, you're 100% right. Either link a cabinet
Right.
or hook up a mod it and put controllers on it. I mean, that's ideally where it's at, honestly.
Got it, but it's got to be with a DB9. You have to use an Atari DB9.
You're gonna get
Yeah,
these
no
people
Bluetooth.
leaving, man. Come on.
Yeah.
No Bluetooth. But no, seriously, I want to talk about something else real quick because again, John's on the he's on the West Coast, and David and Scott here on the East Coast. But I know that John's also gone to China, and your quality's improved. I mean, there's been
Yes.
from your initial launch to today. I'm assuming the issues you guys have been having with people saying that this is not working has gone down substantially. I could tell you from my point of view, from monitoring my forums, that there's still one or two. It's always going to be nothing's perfect. There's always going to be one or two people have an issue, something doesn't work. That can happen with a $5 product or a $10,000 product. But I really think, and I think you'll confirm it, is that the issues and the issues have gone down, and the quality of what's being delivered has gone way up. Am I correct in that?
You're 100% correct. I mean, Scott takes this very seriously, and he promised that the quality
On
would
my show, as a
increase.
matter of fact, he did.
He
Yes, he
did.
did.
He did. I saw that. But now, it's when you're first to market, there are going to be some issues, right? Who would have known that the hand oils would affect the control panel? I mean, we didn't really know that until we started bringing out trade shows, and then this stuff was rubbing off. So like Scott invested a lot of time and resources and money to fix that issue, and so now you have those covers, and also you're having better buttons, better joysticks with better response times. Not only that, if you see the LCD screens,
Mm-hmm.
much
Yes.
brighter.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're of a higher quality. Not only
Better
that,
contrast too. The
better
contrast is better.
contrast.
And let's interrupt
Now
you. Let's interrupt you really quick. Let's talk about that real quick. What you guys didn't have to do, but you did when that paint was rubbing off. You guys gave out free covers to everybody that purchased that. So let's just put that on record as well. You guys didn't have to do it, but you did it.
we did that, and that was not cheap.
I
But
know
it
it's not
also-
cheap.
But we also know that this is a long-term business, right? And we value customer input. We want this to make sure that we're here for the long term and giving what everyone wants, right? Again, now coming so for say Street Fighter, you understand that was the first of the bunch that had stereo sound, but then we didn't have stereo speakers. Now you have that for Marvel. Anything else that's going to be stereo is going to have two speakers. Recessed, the LCD being recessed is another opinion that we've taken for the community. Also, if you look at the artwork on the sides is much glossier. Like everything's being improved, and customer service is being improved. A lot of times you just see, of course, the issues that come out, and they're more prevalent because it's social media. But I'm telling you, I believe that it's going to get better, and that we're continuing to make progress.
Well, with you saying that, and I agree with you, is the squeaky wheel is always that makes itself known. I mean, we don't
Right.
hear of the thousands and thousands of machines that are everyone's satisfied with. I mean, I have 11. I forgot. I think 11 or 12. I don't remember how many I have now. But I honestly have not had an issue with anyone. I didn't have any damaged panels. I didn't have any bad screens. I didn't have anything like that. And there's been a lot of that, but no one's going to say on social media, "Hey, I got 10 or 3 or 2. Mine's perfect. It's always mine's broke or this doesn't work." So that's the bad thing for any business. You never hear about the positives. You only generally hear the negatives. But again, when any business, like you just said, does something like this, especially their first batch, it's a learning curve. It's a
Yes.
new market. They basically had to learn how to make a $500 to $1,000 type of home built machine into something for the masses, and that can be
That's
sent
exactly
out to Walmarts and to other places easily to be purchased. I know a couple people, they build machines on themselves, but they can't ship them anywhere because it's way too much money.
Yep.
And even then, there's no guarantee when they do ship it that doesn't come undamaged. I mean,
Right.
you could purchase anything and it comes undamaged. It's just I personally have seen an improvement on my last one, which was Mortal Kombat. There's a little
Mhm.
more padding in the box. But even
Yes.
prior to that, I thought everything was padded adequately. I didn't think anything was there. From my perspective, my personal perspective, any damage that would have happened for me was just missed at QI inspection at point of shipment from your manufacturing plant. Because the boxes generally came fine, and people report my box was fine, but there was something wrong inside. It just didn't get the QI part properly, is my guess.
I-
So I assume that at that point, since Scott's been out there, that's been taken care of by Star Wars, Marvel, and what else was the last one they released? Besides the I
Turtles.
forgot now.
Turtles.
Turtles. I have not really seen anyone have issues. I mean, it's gone down, I would say 1,000% versus the initial batch.
Yeah, I would
I'm
agree
glad you
with
bring
that.
that up. I'm
I
glad you bring that up because if you look at those packages, I'm sorry to
no,
interrupt
go
you,
ahead, go
Stephen.
ahead.
If you look at the packages, you're right. I mean, it's really tightly packed, and make sure that we don't have those issues moving forward. You're right. Before it was a little loose, but it still was fine. But Scott goes to China almost twice a month, really to make sure that these things are taken care of, and not only like I said, not only in the form factor itself and all the features, but in the packaging. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, and let me just add to that because I have 10 cabs here. I showed you guys some of them, but I have 3 sitting over here that you can't see with all the gear. But I didn't have one problem. Some of these guys were saying that they got 2 left sides, 2 right sides. They've gotten broken pieces. The one I had an issue with was Final Fight. The joystick just didn't feel right. Like it wasn't responding right. So rather than going through the big house, I just bought another one because it's always good to have a spare on hand, right? I didn't even go through your warranty process. I bought another one. They're like what, $12 or something like that. So I got it. I swapped it in. So now I have a backup. But that was the only thing. And again, that's being nitpicky, right? Because when I got the new joystick, I didn't really notice a difference. It could have just been the way it was playing. But honestly, I didn't have some of the problems that some of the people were having. So, what do you guys think about it? Could it be just distro to certain areas that FedEx is just more abusive, or even UPS? I mean, you have no control over that,
It's hard
really.
to say, right? There's always going to be some issues, no matter what the product is, no matter what the price point is. But we take that all seriously. So if anyone's really having any issues, definitely call our customer service line. We'll take care of that. And then, if you really want to, return it back to the store. But I tell you, these issues, we take 100% seriously, and we're working through them.
So before we go on, Glenn, I want to bring up to the chat room. I did put a link in the Facebook for anybody that wants to call in. If you want to call in, if you have a question for John, we're going to keep it moving. But if you want to call in, if you have a cell phone that's running, Google Chrome, or a PC or Mac that's running Google Chrome, you can go to https://call-in.tv/thetechbuzz. It's in the chat room. Anybody else that's in the chat room, I don't know if Brad's still around, but you can go there. All you have to do is select your camera, select your microphone, and we can bring you in live, and you could talk to John or Glenn. Maybe you have a question from one of those guys.
Right. If Scott or David wants to call in to reprimand him about the letting the 2600 games out of the bag, he's more welcome to call in and reprimand John over that.
I think we lost everyone in the chat with all of your Atari ideas here.
Atari's, what? This is something seriously. I love Atari, but the Atari that's around today is almost like the Star Wars of today. It's a train wreck. It's just a train wreck. It's really tainting the new Star Wars films. In my opinion, have destroyed the legacy of Star Wars, just like this new Atari has kind of destroyed the legacy of the old Atari that really was dear to my heart. But I don't know what else to say.
It's okay, Glenn.
I say everyone. I tell everyone, stay this December 20th. Stay home. Don't go see the Rise of Skywalker. Stay home. Don't go see it.
No,
that's not true.
That's no.
This is the last of the Star Wars Skywalker saga, and also there's the Mandalorian. If you don't like that,
yes.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to say that if you haven't seen it, you have to subscribe to Disney Plus and watch The Mandalorian.
Yes,
that's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic.
Best piece of Star Wars content since Empire, and even I like Rogue One though. Rogue One and Mandalorian to me are the best of the Disney Star Wars.
I could fire up Glenn real quick right now and say, he really wants a Vader series. He's like me. He wants a Vader series.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, where he kills all the Jedi's. Order 66 Vader.
Yeah.
We can
between Jedi.
There's
and
a great book.
Hell yeah.
There's a great book, if you guys don't know about it, it's called Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. You can get it in a regular book or an audio book. It actually made the prequels better because it kind of explained all the stupidness that happened in the prequel. But I don't know why Disney, that's a cash cow. You come out with Vader, slicing people like cheese, every
Yep.
5 seconds, you will have a $3 billion movie guaranteed, or Baby
100%.
Yoda film.
So
Baby Yoda film. That was
Baby Yoda
so
film.
not to break up the love fest here with Star Wars, somebody had a question in the chat room here. Again, I'm trying to follow up here when we go. So, guys, keep the questions coming. Anthony wants to know. He said, thoughts for Generation 1 and Generation 2 cabinets that are already released. Once they sell out, are they gone forever, or will they be revived and combined into future generations?
That's a great question. So there are some video game properties that you can continue to release and in different iterations. I think Pac-Man's one of them. I think Street Fighter is another. Um, but a lot of times, I mean, there's only a certain amount of shelf space in a store, and there's only a certain amount of product you can release in a year, right? And likely, of course, all the retailers want something new. So if something comes out, it they may or may not come out in the future in that same exact configuration. Now, will it come out in a compilation? It's possible. But like if Final Fight is out there in the stores, once it's out, I don't think you'll see another Final Fight cabinet be released, right? You may see Final Fight in those other games as a part of a compilation. But for the most part, we're in and out with these products. Star Wars could be something that can have different iterations. But yeah, that's a great question.
And actually, while we're getting the next question, then I actually have another one for you. Since you are the licensing guy, I mean, you're
Yep.
kind of deal with that part of it. I have a lot of friends, and we've brought this up before with Scott and David, but we have friends in Canada and England and Germany and Australia that are literally chomping at the bone to get these. Do we have any
Right.
new news for them about cabinets and people carrying them in those locations?
And before you answer
Canada,
that, hang on. Before you answer that, we had a caller calling in, Scott. I believe it was Scott. You have to select.
I knew it. I knew it.
You have to select your
Uh-oh.
audio and your video before I can get you on, because otherwise it doesn't show me anything. So if you can do that on the
Scott
right
doesn't
hand,
know how to do that.
let me just show real quick, and then I'll let you get back to what you were saying. I'm not trying to interrupt here. I want to make sure that these guys understand how
This is
how
a
to do this.
presidential special announcement. We have to let that come in.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
right. So when
the
you
question is if
no, I'll let you get. So when you guys get in here, you put your name. You got to fill out all this junk. Just put letters. I don't care. But over on the right hand side, you'll see that there is an area where you can select your camera. You got to select your camera here, and then you want to select your audio.
I hope someone's helping Scott at that side.
You're going to select your audio right here
your
under
filter.
that. And then once you do that, just click on join show, and I'll get a notification that you wanted to join the show, and then we'll bring you in. It's very simple. Ask John. He had to connect quite a few times because his internet kept dropping, but very simple.
Don't jinx it.
Don't
do that.
I will. I'm going to turn it back over to John. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure that these guys do.
I'm just saying, look, if you want a cabinet, don't wait. And that's not a sales pitch, because you don't know if that's going to be re-released, right? These things these are limited edition, and even though we're making like say 30, 40, 100,000, after there's no guarantee we're going to re-release that in that same configuration. For me, I'm a big Street Fighter fan. I want to see a cabinet has the championship edition art. I want to see a cabinet that has like the big blue, the Capcom big blue. I want to see, but that's for me. So there's ways that we can release another game in different configurations. But as it stands now, those cabinets that you see on at the retail floor, you may not see again.
Now, what about the people like in Canada and England?
Oh, sure. So that was the
Australia.
question. So Canada has been ramping up, and you've seen that. So we'll be ramping up all those territories very soon. England as well, Australia. I know there's a rabid fan base in Australia.
There is.
And I see, I'm a part of their fan page.
Down under. Our friends down under, man, they talk to me all the time. So, but let me ask you honestly: is there really the issue been licensing? You're only licensed for like North America, and you have to get licensed for the other territories, or is it more just being able to have someone to carry them?
There's two parts, right? Usually, when you do a license, it's very difficult to have a worldwide license right away. A lot of A lot of companies want to test it out on the big market first, like North America, and then once that becomes successful, then we can go into Asia and Europe. But that's one part. We definitely have rights for a lot of our games, in other territories. The second part is trying to find the right distribution, right? If you really think Arcade1up is just released a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to
It
take
seems
time.
like you guys have been in there a lot longer, though, doesn't it? It really
Oh,
does seem like you guys have been out longer.
One season, basically last fall is when we had our first cabinet. So we're definitely ramping up. Pretty soon, you're going to start seeing more cabinets in Australia, in Europe, in Japan, in Asia. But again, it takes the right distribution partner to do it, and we've got to find the right partners, right?
Some people are asking in the chat room, sorry, Glenn, about Killer Instinct.
Okay, go.
Killer Instinct. Are we going to see a Killer Instinct cabinet?
Killer Instinct, that's rare, right? Microsoft?
Yes. Nintendo. It was like Nintendo.
Yeah, it was Nintendo.
They don't, but they don't have the license anymore. So the company that has the license,
it's Xbox, because
Microsoft and Rare. I personally want to see it happen, and I'll tell you this: we're looking at and talking to everybody. Will a Killer Instinct cabinet happen? I hope so. But it's, there's only so many cabinets that we can release in a year.
Oh, of course.
Right, and so we just got to really be careful on exactly what products we release. Not everyone has the money to buy like 5 cabinets, right? So that it's an art form to know exactly what title to release when and in what market. So I guess that's a roundabout way of saying we're talking to everyone. I'd love to see a
listen. I'm still waiting for the plushies that you guys showed at CES last year, and I'll show you the reason why. Okay, let me see if I have this on camera too here. Over here, if I can get this thing to work with me. If you look on that couch there, I have icon pillows for Mac OS. I even have I have a custom pillow behind me that has my logo on it that the company made. Nintendo ones. I mean, they would just look awesome over there, but we need to get them. What's the deal with them? Where are they? Why aren't they out? Come on, John. Come on, John. I'm pressuring you now.
The question you're not asking is, when are we going to see a Baby Yoda plush? I would love to do that.
Now you're killing me.
I would love to do that.
You're killing
right?
me, man.
I would, man. I mean, everyone wants a Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda plush. I mean, check that out. That would be my first priority. Hey, if Disney, if you guys are out there, Lucas, hey, we already did an Atari Star Wars cabinet. Let us do Baby Yoda. We could kill it.
You know what? I was just going to ask something here. I totally had a brain fart. What I was going to ask you. It was an important question too. It wasn't about Atari.
It's an important question. I can always sidetrack you because it's Star Wars.
I remember. No, I remember. So being that you're with licensing and so forth, one of the other cabinets they're asked about all the time is Donkey Kong Jr., so forth. Is Nintendo ever allow anyone these licenses? Because I mean, literally, my mailbox is filled up with those. Is there any hope that Nintendo would even do it?
Well, let me ask you this. And it's almost a rhetorical question. Has Nintendo ever allowed that in the past?
They don't even like you if you're using ROMs.
They're not Arcade1up, and they're not you, John.
Well,
come on, John.
You're
like John from Capcom. You know these people. Come on, John.
I do know those people, and they're friends of mine. And if I could give my left arm to get a Donkey Kong license, I would do it for you guys. Like, I don't need it. My left arm is tattooed. I'd give my whole left arm just for you guys to have a Donkey Kong cabinet.
But is it really that? Is it just Nintendo does not like doing that type of thing versus it's just a lot of money, or they just really don't engage it?
It's not that. Nintendo's not about the money. They got enough money. They got enough money on their own, right? It doesn't make sense for them. And if they were ever going to do something, it's not that they don't want it. They'd likely do it themselves, right? Like Apple. Apple would make their own iPhones, their own whatever it is. Same like Nintendo. So I'm not confident, but I cross my fingers.
Well, I guess the follow-up question to that is, if you were to say, hey, I want it from Arcade1up, I want to talk to you guys about license, would they even engage at that point? And they go, no.
They'll definitely talk. They will definitely listen to us. But at the end of the day, there's all. You know what?
Okay. Next time you go to them, John, you got to take me with you. Okay.
Okay. I'll take
me with you, and
got a
I will
shotgun?
wear my. I will take this hat off. I will take this hat off right here, and I will
Uh-huh.
put on my official Donkey Kong. There we go. How can they
There you
turn me
go.
down now?
They
How can they
can't.
turn me down now?
But you know what? We also have to bring. We have to bring a contract and a knife, and say either your signature or your blood is going to happen
Yep.
right now. No, but to be honest, like, when I'm looking at what Nintendo's done, they have done something like this in the past. There's two things that I've seen. They've done a Mario Kart arcade in collaboration with Namco, right? And I talked to those Namco guys to say, how did you do that, right? And they go, oh my gosh, gave me this long story. But and then, I mean, they've done something on the console side with Sega and Sonic and the Olympics. So I'm wrong to say they've never done something like that, but it's been rare.
Right.
Everyone wants to see
Right.
it. You know what I'm hoping? I hope they just do it themselves. Why not? I want to see it.
Yeah.
Right. So it also comes down to it's not like you guys don't want to do it. It's just it's extremely difficult to get the license to do it. Just so people out
You
in
know
the
what?
audience understands that.
Who doesn't like printing money?
Right. Right.
I think that's illegal though.
So
It
so
is
can
definitely legal.
can I open up a proverbial box right now? Just a pet
Sure.
peeve that I have with different pages with the Arcade1ups that people get on there, and it just drives me absolutely bananas because especially now at holiday time, people are posting, "Oh my gosh, my Walmart has Arcade1up for $75," and then
Mm.
you got all these other people like, "Well, that sucks. Arcade1up sucks. They made me pay full price for this." And going on, and it's like cluttering news feeds. Okay, so can
Yeah.
you please just go on record and say what I've been saying? You have no control over what the retailers are selling these products for. That it's completely up to the retailer because apparently people don't understand that, and you sit there and you go until you're blue in the face, right?
Well, that's 100% correct. It's called MSRP, right? Manufacturer's suggested retail price. And so we initially sell it in and we say this is how much we want to sell it for, but it's really the retailers, uh, it's really their decision on how much they sell the product for. For a company like Walmart is pretty different than other retailers, is because they're able to price flex. They're able to bring down the price, and that's because they need to continue to turn over product, right? So when you see some territories that are selling stuff for $75, is because they really want to get rid of the product so new product to come in,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you're seeing like $75 for Gallagher and all that, really it's setting up for new products, for new Arcade1up products to come in. And Arcade1up does not have the authority to say you have to sell at this certain price point. They're able to mark it down, and it's more of inventory control.
Well, Glenn and
Hope
I
that
have been
answers
saying Glenn and I have been
Exactly.
saying that for weeks, but people just don't seem to get it. So we figured if we can ask you right here while it's recorded, maybe people will actually watch it since they don't read. You know, uh, well, it really gets you could tell the areas that are either financially challenged or tech challenged because they're the
Yes.
ones that are getting rid of the cabinets at a
Yeah,
very, very low price. Where
that's
areas like
correct.
my areas, I'm in Eastern Ohio. They're still. I think the cheapest I've seen them was 250 or 249. Right. I think Glenn up in your area is probably similar. Right.
They're always full price.
Right.
Always full price up by me.
So, consider yourself lucky if you're in an area like that that nobody's buying your the cabinets there. But it's not. Stop blaming Arcade1up. Stop blaming these companies. It's not their fault.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it's a little ridiculous when they do that. I mean, if you wanted something, like you said before, you
Yeah,
buy it. You
you
can't
buy
have
it.
remorse. If it's within a certain amount of time, you can always go to the store and they'll refund you the difference. If that was the case. But when you buy something and you're an early adopter,
That's
that's
it.
what you're going to pay. If you want to wait 6 months, 8 months,
Yep.
10 months, a year before you get it, you'll probably get it at a discount. Or if you get
Exactly.
lucky, sometimes you do. But if you want something, you buy it. You don't come back later and say, "Oh my God, you bought something you thought was a fair price at the time when you bought it," and that's the end of the story.
Well, and I'll bring a different angle to this, right? So our Walmart research shows that people aren't just buying one cabinet; they're buying multiple. And that's a great thing for the long-term health of this business. Sometimes Walmart would drop prices to create excitement. They know that if you buy a $75 cabinet, for a certain time frame at a certain market, then if you buy that, if your experience is good, you're going to buy one at $349 or $399. So it's another way to also just generate excitement in general.
I think
Agreed.
I think the real question here for you, if I can go into a journalistic approach here, is, and Scott could feel free to answer this in the chat. Did you guys ever expect people to start doing what Glenn, myself, and others have done and line their basements, their finished rooms, their extra rooms with these arcades? Or did you think that this was something that was just going to be a one-off? Like, hey, I'm going to buy my favorite arcade that I always wanted as a kid that we presented, and that's the only one they're going to buy. Was the expectation ever there that people were going to buy every single cabinet that came out?
Well, I can't speak for Scott, right? I can only speak to my experience. When I first saw this launch, and I was involved with it from the Capcom side. That's how Scott and I got hooked up, because I basically, helped them with the license for Street Fighter. We did it. We thought this price point was something that was going to be prohibitive to buy multiple cabinets, right? However, when the first couple of months, you started seeing this momentum. You started seeing these, the fan page grow to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, upwards to almost 100,000 total now, right? And you see people start to, showcase their man caves, and it's really hit a nerve, right? I mean, also what we've seen is that the demographic, if you look at the Facebook pages and all that, it's like between 35 to 55 Gen Xers, or young, older millennials. We call them Xennials, or younger boomers. Kind of that sweet spot where now they have the room to to have multiple cabinets, and they're starting to have kids that they can enjoy these video games. People are like, make this joke, oh, I want to buy the Street Fighter cabinet for my son, but they ain't got it.
So you're telling on
Right?
yourself that pinball's
Yeah,
not really for your kids; it's
that
for
pinball's
you.
not for my kid.
That's what
That's for
that's what I was
me.
getting at. I knew that something was up.
So did I know that? Did I personally know that? No, I didn't. But it started to become very evident when we started seeing the excitement and the engagement of our social community.
Well, I think,
and that's the big thing too, is that
yep.
the part of the big problem is that you have such a good fan community that there's very strong feelings, like, at both sides, because you have
Sure.
those purists, and no one wants to come out of the closet who's a purist, say, I like the Arcade1up, but it's just initially everyone said it was a toy, it wasn't going to make it, wasn't going to do it, and now you have people, Turtles, those Star Wars games, that people are going crazy over it, and they're becoming a very what I'm looking for, dedicated following to these cabinets, and they're looking for that next their next fix, if
Glenn,
you will.
people are making a living off of these cabinets, modding them and selling them.
Right, exactly. So that's something that's come. And you were going to say something. That's what's kind of come from this. I, started the fan pages and started doing some mods, but there are literally other companies, new graphics, light up marquees, and so forth. Companies built around your product.
And we've hit a nerve, and that's how you know, right? This business has spawned other businesses, like what you're doing, Glenn, and making peripherals, like the artwork. And I even see people are buying multiple cabinets and renting them out for parties. People are making businesses like, I bought like 12 Arcade1ups, and they're making money because the overhead's low, and they're renting them, for 2 hours, $300.
And
Right?
that's an important thing you brought up there too, is because they're not taking these, they're transporting them. All right, they get knocked around a little bit. You have kids all over them. So when people say, these machines aren't going to last, they're basically in huge parties with kids banging on them for hours at a time, going to a next event, and they're surviving.
So,
totally. And
so
if
I hate
something
that
gets messed up. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I hate to interrupt this party, but we have a gentleman that just joined us.
Uh-oh.
The master.
Wrong, Scott?
Welcome, Scott.
I don't know. Let me see if I can get some audio on him. It doesn't look like he's got. Does he have it muted? Scott, do you have it muted?
Yeah, he's muted.
It looks like he might be muted.
We can read his lips. You need to
You
tell
said,
them more about
John D needs
CES.
a
I give you
raise.
the okay to tell them about the products at CES. See, thumbs
I'll
up.
give a thumbs up to John D having a raise. That's what he's saying.
Scott, make sure the mute's not on the side of your iPhone. If you have an iPhone or if you have headphones plugged in, it might mute it. It's possible. Okay, he says, just wait a minute.
Yep.
Because I've had that happen with guys that have called in. Try hanging up and re-coming. Wait, is he there?
Oh, he's going to stomp us.
Look, I love that angle he has right there. It's like.
What I was gonna say, he can
You're looking at
always,
the ceiling.
if he can hear us.
Oh, he's putting his headphones away, or his headphones out?
No, he's putting them away.
Listen, headphones. This guy don't got headphones. He got AirPods.
Okay, so Scott, what I'm gonna try to do is try to refresh it and see if it works, and see if we can get it.
Yes, John. I
Let's see
give
if
you
we
the
can-
okay. Tell them all about the product. And actually, if you do that, I promise there'll be no repercussions. It's okay.
Okay. Yes, Scott. I will tell him about bubbles.
So let's see if Scott, if you can hear us. I'm gonna drop you off. Call right back. Wait, do we have audio?
Oh, here's something. I hear something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, we see a wall, but we can hear you now.
But we all we see is a rusty wall.
Scott's.
Hold on, I don't know how to. Hang on, I don't know how to turn around my camera. So hold on.
There's a arrow that looks like a switch.
Yeah, tap on the side of this right on the.
I see the dirty sock on the floor there.
Yeah, dirty sock with a dog.
We'll give him a.
Oh, we're so close. We're getting so close.
Hey, at least we got sound.
We'll get him.
So wait.
Okay.
So wait. How do I switch the video around?
You take the whole phone and just turn it.
No, don't tell him to do that. If you tap the screen, there should be like a little arrow that rotates or something.
It looks like a rotating arrow.
Yeah, and I think that'll flop you around, or on the actual camera itself. Oh,
that's why Scott has me. I'm the tech guy.
Okay, so let's see. Hang on, I'm picking up.
You're on the West Coast. You've got to be in the East Coast.
Let's see here.
Did he drop out for a second?
He did drop out. John, Scott, are you there?
Let me text him. I'll tell him to go back in.
He's getting so close.
He's on air right now, but I think he did
but I think
something.
He's frozen, right?
Yeah, he's frozen right now.
Let it go.
Let me see if I can. Wait, we got him. We got him. I just had to press a few buttons here to help him out.
There we go.
There we go.
God,
What's up,
welcome.
guys?
Welcome.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Nothing. John just told us while you were frozen there about the product coming out at CES.
Oh, is that the deal?
Yeah, he said it. We heard you before you cut out there that you gave him permission to tell us, so he kind of went there.
He told us everything. So if you want to tell us again, that's fine. He already told us.
Yeah, John can tell you everything. John's the man. He's got all the power here. I'd leave it to him.
Oh no! Don't say that. Don't say that. I'm be like the villain in the retro gaming.
Scott,
community.
where are you in the U.S. right now? Where are you currently? Where are you calling from?
I'm actually I'm in New York, and I was on the treadmill watching this, and I didn't want to dial in truthfully because I cannot do nearly as well as John can, and I didn't want to screw it up. But I was listening to you guys, and thought that I'd get a little bit closer. In all seriousness, you guys are rock stars, and we really do appreciate all the support you guys give us. I mean that. And John is, I'll say it on camera so everyone knows. We're very lucky to have this guy here. He's pretty.
Thank you, man.
He's been in the gaming business for 25 years, and he makes our stuff real legit, and that's the truth. None of us are gamers. We're guys who know how to manufacture product and distribute, and we have some great marketing ideas. And between John and the team that he's brought on, and a lot of other people who have joined our company over the last 16 months or so, that's what's made the difference in taking us from what I'd call the one-hit wonder into a category, into a line, into a business that's explosive. And we're really grateful for it. That's the truth. Like, we're really grateful for it. I am truly lucky. I get to wake up every day and do something that I enjoy. I normally don't.
Yeah, I'm just truly lucky to wake up. So
yeah, I guess that.
So Scott, let me ask you then. While we've got you on here, the question that I had asked John earlier, I said, did you ever think that people would be buying 10, 12, 15 different machines lining their basements, their extra rooms, when you initially had this concept of the Arcade1up, because that's what's happening.
Yeah, no, listen, I'd love to tell you that we were like, old wise men that saw it and said everyone's going to build an arcade. I don't think that was the case. I think that, first off, just for the record, everyone knows this was a passion project. So the way this started, and everyone has said that they've heard part of the story, but the way it started is that we were sitting around a brainstorming session, and we were looking at ways to migrate to the gaming space, and we saw an opportunity in retro gaming, and we saw some things that were in the marketplace that we didn't really think delivered on the experience of a real arcade at your house. And Jerry, our lead designer, Jerry Cummings, came up and made the first foam core model. And I walked into his office and saw a 3/4 scale machine, and it just blew me away. I mean, completely blew me away. And at that point, we looked at our development team and said, we could never make this thing, for like a sub $500 retail. I think we got something.
This concept of the Arcade1up because no, he just turned on the thing. So that's no, sorry, John's over there. He's hiding.
I'm sorry, guys. That's me.
No worries.
So can you still hear me, Steve?
Yep, we can still hear you. So go ahead, continue.
So just to finish off on that, and so that was, we were like, this is phenomenal, and we started down the journey a little bit, and it was funny because literally as weeks were starting to take on, more people were seeing this, and it started to become realer and realer, and then all of a sudden we started to see our first model come out. We found our factory that could produce it over a short horizon of 6 months. To the credit of our team, not to me, to our team, we kind of took it upon ourselves and just made a lot of designs, But John will tell you, I showed up at John's door when he was working at Capcom with a Street Fighter design, with a coffin box. It looked like there was a body in it, and I didn't think, and it's funny because he's a real gamer, right? And I don't pretend to be a gamer. I'm not. It's not my thing. But although I will kick butt on anybody on this show for Pac-Man and Galaga, but I'm not a real gamer. And but when John saw it, he called in. I don't remember who the guy was, but he called in one of his resident gamers into the office, and I remember that being a very aha moment for me, because the guy is a true gamer. It's like when you show a real, it's like when you show a rock star, a doll of themselves. That moment of truth comes where they kind of look and say, "Is this the real deal?" And the guy looked over at John and he goes, "These guys are the real deal."
Yep.
And yeah. So we're stoked, and then from there, listen, John said we've only been out one season. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, we've been out one season, and we had, again, I think I was dialing it in there, but yeah, we had a couple of glitches at the very beginning of production, but
everybody does.
I'll tell you that. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. But I'll tell you that we really take, a lot of people say they take customer service seriously and they take product perfection seriously. We truly do. Like, it is a big mandate from myself and from others within the company to continue to improve that. And I think the team, despite my involvement, the team has done a great job in making that happen. And it's a credit to our QC team that we've got a significant QC team. John mentioned Scott goes over there every couple of months. Last year I was over in Hong Kong probably a dozen times. And this year I was only over 4 times. And that's because we have a real team there now. We have a team of 20 plus people that, are working 24/7 to really bring great product. So anyway, that's enough out of me, I guess.
Well, Scott doesn't give himself enough credit. One thing that he does say to everybody, he knows what he knows and he knows what he doesn't know, right? What he does know more than anyone that I see, he's like one of the best visionaries I've seen in this entire industry. He's able to solve what no one's been able to solve in the video game industry. He's basically give us a at-home experience for arcades at retail at an affordable price, but with an experience that's very like what we saw in the arcades. Okay, so that was his vision. And secondly, he surrounds himself with basically experts in the industry. So he has the best engineers. He has the best designers. He has the best licensing guy. Just kidding, not me. Just kidding.
Shameless plug.
But no, I'm just kidding. But he's brought together. I say this all the time. He's brought together the Avengers of the retro gaming industry.
Scott,
I'm proud to be part of it.
Scott, I think you muted again. I think you might have hit mute on your phone. There we go. Now he's back. Yep, we're good.
Yes, we got you back.
If I did anything halfway decent, and I don't know where they're at this year, but we assembled the Lakers. You know, and
Oh, I hate the Lakers. Don't say that.
Yeah, they're a good team. What am I going to say? You know, they win ball games. Those guys win ball games. You know what I
He
mean?
did it on purpose.
And, yeah,
Oh.
you know, it's interesting. I like the Lakers. In fact, John, I like a lot of basketball. You like basketball, John?
I love basketball, man. You know that. I love basketball. And you know, in CES,
maybe these guys should come by at CES and see some stuff. You know what I mean?
I already told them we're going to release the basketball game everyone wants to see. We have a 16-foot double dribble coming out.
Double dribble, right?
Double dribble from Konami. It's going to be
one, yeah.
huge, right?
Yeah, double dribble. I like that.
Yeah, the last time I was at CES was back in, I think, 2011. I went 2009, 2010, and 2011, and I haven't been back since. I used to cover it live. I used to walk around, you know, and do it live. Now I'm out there for NAB. I have not gone out there in many years. For CES.
I have to say the last time I was at CES, it's vivid. It was vivid. They had this wonderful thing. It was called a horse pulling carriage.
Here we go.
Had a couple horses on the front. Okay, that was it.
Well, you know what I think, guys. You know what I think? I think you guys should come out and bring Ralph also. Why don't you guys do some live streams there?
Well, I think Ralph, I know, is going out there, and I think also Console Kits is going out there. For me, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it just because of the family situation, but that thing I would not love to go out there.
Yeah.
But anything you do in New York, you know, I'm there. You know, I have no problem. I have no problem walking.
I'm bummed that I missed you when you came in last time. I think the last time I was someplace in the world, and I didn't even know you were coming in. And I saw you talking to David, and I go, I think he's in my office.
I left you a shirt. Did you get the shirt?
You want me to lie and say yes?
Oh, David! Did David steal your shirt? David promised me you would give me the shirt.
No,
wow.
No
okay,
shirt.
now you know,
No
David. I know you're in here somewhere. I left him a shirt.
He's lurking.
He didn't get a shirt.
But with that being said, I said anytime you have some free time, let me know. I could be there in 45 minutes flat.
We love you. We have a welcome door to us anytime. Seriously.
Excellent.
And
well,
Steven,
that was a wrong thing to say. I'd be like a herpy. I'm going to be on there right on the outside of the door there.
He said a herpy.
Well, Scott, it's like we told John. One of the things we wanted to do here is provide a platform where we could do high quality video with companies like yourself that are in the arcade, the retro community, to come on, showcase your new products, talk about things, get down to some of the things that are in the community that you can address, and you don't have all the complaints going back and forth. People can come here and have a reliable source that you guys are coming on and saying, look, we heard you, NBA Jam's coming, and that's all there is to it, so leave us alone. You like what I did there?
Did John say that? Did John announce that?
I did not say that. That's a lie.
He said it. 4-player.
Yeah. Listen,
I thought he said 6-player.
John's a smart dude, you know?
Actually, John said the Glen Retro Special, the 120 Atari games.
I heard that.
No, 118.
Well, I'm sorry.
It was only 18.
118.
So I will tell you,
right.
When I was
multiple versions of one game.
Right. So I'm going to give you this hint about something other than what you just said.
Oh,
so
no.
Glen said, no, don't worry, David. I know you're listening right now, David.
Oh,
relax. No. It's okay. So, John, don't worry. So David, Glen, you said something. You said, why don't you make such and such, and you can use a such and such. And that's all I'm going to say to you. But when you come by CES, you're going to go, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Did anyone get that reference? You can make a such.
I don't think anyone's going to know that except for me, Scott, and David.
So now what's going to happen?
I didn't know that.
So what's going to happen is everybody's going to go back and watch the beginning part of the show and then and try to figure out what this all means. And it's going to be all over.
I know.
So everybody take that meme.
There's one thing that I am is when someone tells me something, it's my integrity, and I will not discuss it.
It is.
And,
I know this about Glen.
I will tell you, as a co-host with him doing this,
he's tried.
I won't say I haven't tried, but Glen has been tight-lipped. He hasn't confirmed or denied anything. That's why I said to John, by guessing, Glen hasn't said a word to me. This is all just what I've seen in the community. I can say that Glen has not said a word. So
there's very few things in this day and age that a man can have, and one of them is integrity. And
100%, man.
That's it. And once you don't have that, then then you have no worth. So
And
that's
I'll
one
tell
thing
you
I pride
this,
myself on.
you know, Scott is the epitome of integrity, and it goes all the way down. Scott has never been sued by any retailer or publisher. I'll just say
Oh,
that.
Jesus, John. Ow.
I'm just saying. I mean, the reason why I followed you is because I believe in you and I believe in your integrity, man. I'll say that 100%.
Thank you.
That could be
did you
a
guys,
meme.
did you guys,
I can say that with 100%.
Yeah.
That's a meme right there.
Yep.
because I missed the first part. I apologize. Did John tell you
I
about
said
it?
you weren't gonna. I said you'd never be sued by a publisher or a retailer. That's what I said.
Oh no, I heard that part. I heard that.
Oh, okay. I just want to say that.
I meant the front of the show. I missed part of it. Did John tell you any of the other stuff that we some of the new categories we're coming out with?
All he said was he has 4 cabinets that would appeal to Glen and Glen only. So that's how everybody knew he was telling nothing but bullcrap.
I love this guy.
And
I love him.
and that
Wait a
was
second.
and he said surprises.
Wait a second. So these are not coming out? I'm not going to have my
Surprises are
Atari cabinet?
Surprises are good. All right, so listen, I'm going to go because this is not my show. This is your guys' show, and you got a guy there who knows all the answers. I just wanted to call in and get a venue to say, and I really mean this. Thank you to every single fan that's out there. Thank you for all your support. We hear you. We don't do everything great, but we continue to try, and where we stumble, we pick up, and we continue on forward. Send in your ideas because we're hearing them, and I think that what you see at CES, you'll see a lot of that. And that's it. John's got the keys to the castle. He knows every secret that there is, so I'd push him as hard as you possibly can.
I've been trying. He just won't budge.
Before you go, seriously, you better talk to Dave and find out where my shirt is. I left you a nice Glenn's Retro Show shirt. He goes, I will take it to him. I'll put it right in his office, and he probably pocketed it. He already had the shirt.
He pocketed it. Not only, let me tell you something. If he's going to see me because we're all going down for an off-site meeting on Monday. We're all going to be together for about 10 of us for a few days. So maybe he'd be a good guy, and the shirt that he stole, he should bring it to me on Monday, and I'll wear it.
And wait a second. This is the same guy that we've been after to send us shirts, and he stole the Glen Retro Show shirt.
Oh, maybe.
How does that work?
Believe this guy? I don't know. You got to talk to this guy. You see, now,
Scott, you better take care of that guy.
Listen, if you gave it to John, he wouldn't have any of these problems. We love you, David. All kidding aside.
I couldn't fit it. I'm a large. That's why.
All kidding
He's
aside.
a media.
Let me tell you guys something. In all seriousness, David is, I think he's 24, 25 years old.
He's a prodigy.
David is one of the best PR marketing guys I've met for his age. And I mean that. He is
I agree.
He's phenomenal. He's studious. He's smart. He's thoughtful. He's direct. He's honest. He doesn't play games. And we are truly grateful that we have him on our team. And no, that's not a cue that he's getting a raise.
I was just going to say, are these guys trying to put in for like a Christmas bonus here? Because between John...
These guys gave me the best bonus of the year. It's all good.
Now, I got to echo that. I mean, David is a marketing prodigy. He's a stand-up guy. That's why he's working with us. You know, Scott and I discussed this and go, you know, he had done a lot of good things for the brand, and he's a real talent. So we actually want to make sure that we get the real talent, the one who's actually doing stuff in our company.
Okay. On that note, I'm gonna split, guys.
Scott, thanks for coming on. Seriously, Scott,
thanks for taking the time, and we
it.
appreciate it. We really do.
Okay, you guys want to know CS secrets?
You're not going to give us any secrets.
No.
Come
I'll give you some
on.
hints, okay?
All right.
I'll give you some
Go
hints.
ahead.
I
Go
have
ahead.
one very important question. How the hell do I sign off?
I'll take.
Oh my
I'll
God,
take care of that.
You're already discontinued.
Turn
Keep
off your
talking,
phone.
though. Keep talking.
I got him. I got him. He's good. He's gone.
Okay. So for CES, these are real things. Okay, we're gonna have definitely one big AAA announcement in a 4-foot cabinet. We're gonna have another new cabinet, but it's a reconfigured version of a very popular cabinet. Okay.
Okay.
We have a new cabinet that is a new publisher that we've never done business yet with before. So it's going to be a publisher with some cool classic games on there. Going down the list, you know Burger Time. That's coming up. There's
what about that
another.
that THQ one? Is that something that, I mean, I know it's been out, but is that something that's actually physically coming, or is that was a prototype that's was a
Which one?
oops?
Which one from THQ?
I thought there
I
was
don't know what you're
a
talking about.
prototype when you guys were over in Japan or something. Things were was it THQ?
No, no, it's SNK.
SNK. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no. Unfortunately, because of that leak, uh, I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Oh, and just like that,
Oh, he
Glenn,
froze.
he froze.
Oh,
He
he
was
froze.
good the whole time. We'll wait till
He was
see.
just about to tell us the whole
Scott
thing.
Scott pulled the no, I'm just kidding. Scott didn't pull the plug. His bandwidth has been wonky the whole. He'll call back in. We'll get him here as we're about ready. We could be wrapping up here
That's
shortly.
that's like a cliffhanger. That is such a cliffhanger.
He's like, it's not coming, but and it went.
I think we all need to send letters to SNK. I think that's the next petition we need to start.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would drop it. We'll wait and see. John's gonna hopefully get back in. Here he comes. We'll get him
You got him?
on. Yeah. So that's interesting that they would. I'll let him finish up here as soon as we get him over here into the studio. Let me do this here. Let's go. Let me do this clear. I just got to bring him back up here, guys. Bear with us here. And John's back.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm
He's
back.
back.
Sorry,
All right.
guys.
So
You were just
let-
telling us that secret cabinet you weren't going to tell us before. What was it?
So you're talking about SNK. So
Yes.
there was an unfortunate leak about SNK. That image was supposed to be just for internal use only, and it's unfortunate that it went out because that really affected our ability to do something with SNK. Now, I don't fault them. I totally understand. I've been on the publisher side before, and business relationships take trust, and we lost a little bit of trust. But yes, I do definitely want an SNK cabinet. I think that would be amazing. I have like so many ideas to do various SNK cabinets. And my friend there, we put our friend Adam in a very precarious situation. I'm sorry we did that. But having said that, we own up to it, and we're going to gain back their trust, and hopefully in the future we can do SNK. So no, nothing at SNK for the time being.
So before you get back into that, because you're talking
Sure.
about these somebody messaged me, and hang on, I got it pulled up here. Any thoughts to doing? And I apologize because I got rid of the message here. I'm going to paraphrase it. Any thoughts on building a modder special cabinet where modders could buy parts of the cabinet with or without graphics that they can put together with their own components? And if you said that in the chat room, can you post that in there again? Because I'm sorry, it was on my watch and I accidentally swiped it off.
So
but I did read
basically,
it.
you're asking if we have any intentions to do basically a generic cabinet where people can do whatever artwork they can, basically using a form factor and put whatever guts you want.
That's
Right.
I'm assuming that's what he was asking.
Like a DUI, a DUI arcade one.
DIY, not DUI.
DIY, DIY.
If it makes sense from a business standpoint, I think we'll consider it. I don't know if we're considering that right now. That's our secret sauce, though. Being able to make something like IKEA furniture. Well, I don't say IKEA, but something that's easy to put together in a flat box. All that stuff. We take the mod community very seriously, and we support it to a certain extent, of course. But will we ever do just a generic one? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know if there's money into it. Honestly.
And actually, I'm thankful. I mean, again, I met the guys in New York, and they were very receptive of me and the products, the controllers that I make. And it was actually quite interesting when they were saying, "Well, actually, I have one of those," or when I brought mine in, they said, "We appreciate it. We understand what you're doing, and we embrace that part of the community." And I think that's good because I think it's a large, not a huge part, but a substantial part of the community.
Totally.
Especially, like I said, if they have a lot of cabinets and there's one that's not available yet, maybe one that there's no way, like a Donkey Kong cabinet that you probably never get, but they would love to have one of them in the same scale as the other Arcade1ups, and they make their own. So that's part of the fun of the like even when you buy a car, we're guys.
Exactly.
You buy a car, you mod it, you put new rims on it, you put dice on it, whatever you want to do. It's part of having it. It's the fun.
No, definitely. Glenn actually bought 3 of your spinners, so I mean, I have that at home. I
I'm
have it
honored.
in office. Yep. You know, and we also have the Arcade1up one, which is not as good, but definitely better than what they had beforehand. So, yeah, but
Yeah, I actually got.
I do. So the best kind of products are stuff that you can continue to spend money on and modding it. I think those are the best ones, right?
Right.
You're like saying
And
it's like
again,
a car.
for any wives watching the show with the husbands tonight, because we do have a very large audience, with these machines here, you know where your husband is. He's
That's
home
right.
playing games.
That's
Yep.
right.
He's not out at the bar meeting
He's
a
not at a
lady
hotel.
friend.
He's not
You know
at
what
a
I'm saying?
hotel. He's not
That's
spending his
right.
money on some shady stuff.
All right, guys,
He's just home nerding out in the basement.
Guys in the
That's it.
chat, hold your questions for right now. I want before he loses his connectivity again, he's going to leave us on a cliffhanger. John's got to give us the rest of the hints here. So we're on what, hint
So the
number
rest of the
2?
hints. What did I say? I said one AAA cabinet that
One
will also
AAA
be
cabinet.
that will be featured in a 16-foot, you know, large configuration for demos. We have one cabinet is a
Oh, he did it again.
Oh no!
He's not going to get this out. He's not.
It's got to be Scott. Scott is calling this broadband company and shutting it down every time he tries to tell us
that was fantastic. I was like, I knew it was coming too, because the way, I don't know if it's the California internet. It might be PG, and he's gonna. I'll wait till he comes on. He's gonna laugh at this. It's probably PG&E. It's probably shutting him down.
I'm going to tell you once again, we are definitely on our 1 hour schedule. So
yeah, you mean our 2 hour schedule?
Exactly.
So, you know what it is? David has a kill switch.
I know it.
It's either them or it's PG&E. So all right,
Sorry, real quick before I get disconnected again. So I said we have a new cabinet with new publisher, one of the biggest publishers out there with the classic games. We have a few new categories within the retro gaming category that will basically use the current licenses that we have, and also different games with those licenses. We have a couple new electronic categories, and possibly something that's been talked about for a long time that I kind of alluded to in the beginning of the show may or may not appear. So that's as best as I can do.
The plushies, John. The plushies. Come on, man.
The Yoda plush, the baby Yoda plush will make an appearance at CES.
You're killing me, John.
Oh, I would love to see the baby Yoda. I'm not lying.
What?
I would like to see it.
Everyone on social media go on the Disney Twitter and tell them that let tastemakers do the baby Yoda plush. I would make it fucking mechanical too. It would even coo and shit, and like do all that.
Well, who'll be cooing more, me or the Yoda?
Both of everyone. Oh my gosh, I love that guy.
Well, I mean,
and that's why you need to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yes.
Plug, and watch The Mandalorian. It's fantastic.
I have not seen episode 5 yet. After this, I'm gonna watch episode 5 right here.
That's right.
In my big screen.
You're really trying to get Disney to be a sponsor of this show, aren't you, Glenn? You're really trying. You're trying your hardest.
I can't see why you would say that.
So, to be fair, John, just so everybody knows, CES, you guys are going to be announcing. There's going to be different people there that are going to be covering it. I assume David's going to be posting out on social media as things are happening. Correct?
Yes, correct. Follow our Twitter and our Instagram and Facebook for updates regarding CES. And I'm telling you, we have a lot of things to show, and I'm very excited. I'm sorry I can't definitely tell you everything, but I think I've given you a lot of hints.
No, but so Glenn, what do you think about after John gets back from CES, and maybe maybe Scott can also ring in, but I think we need to have them back as a follow-up to talk about whatever surprises that are going to be released, because I'm sure, even though I have no idea any of this stuff that's coming out, people are going to have questions. So what do you think about that, John?
Hey, if you guys want me on again, hopefully I'm not too boring for everybody.
I don't think you're boring. I think you're doing a great job, actually. It's been a really good episode. We've gone over 2 hours, and we're still. No, I'm serious.
Well, let's.
You can have the lowest amount of views in the entire series.
Let's do this, guys in the chat room. If there's still like 70 some on Facebook here, guys in the chat room, if you want to see John come on after the announcement at CES, put a 1 in the chat room. If you think he's boring, put a 0 in there. Just a 0. January 7th, 2020. So our show is usually
Yes.
on a Friday. So whatever that date would be that week, we'll have
So
Glenn coordinate.
no, let's do it the week after. So the Friday after that, because I need some rest.
Hey,
Okay, that's fine.
unless Scott
Right?
and David
So
want me on the same flight as them, I'll fly out with them.
all
Just
right.
stick
Why
me in
not?
one of the luggage. You have a Glen plush. Just put me in the suitcase and ship me out, and I'll go out
Well,
there with
let's
them.
you know what? Let's schedule this now, right? So we're talking about
Yeah,
CES on the 7th. What's not that Friday? What's the following Friday?
what is that, the 20 something? I don't have a calendar right in front of me. You're getting a lot
Let's
of
see,
ones.
January.
Yes, in January.
January.
Not the
So it's
14th.
either the 10th or the
Yes.
17th.
The 17th, because the 10th, we're still flying back. So
So let's do the
let's
17th. We'll pencil
let's do
you
the
in.
17th.
Let's have that, and we'll have you guys come on and talk about the new cabinets, obviously, and any questions. Listen, guys, when you see the CES announcement, don't go to speculations after it's done and saying, well, why didn't they do this? Is it going to have this? Save those questions. We'll get John back on.
Yep.
He can answer them as he can finally, get it out.
Speak about it.
Let's give it a rest. So, Glenn, I think that would be a good idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I would love to have him back on again. I'm glad he came on today, and I'd love to have him come on again. And hopefully, I'll meet him one time at either a show or at the New York City office.
I'll be
So,
in New York. Let's do it.
just to make this
All right.
easy, on me, what we're going to do is we're going to actually, says John dropped. John, if you can hear us, give it a call back in. So what we're going to do here, as soon as John gets back, Glenn, what we're going to do is we are going to wrap the recording to make it a little easier. We'll stick around, guys, for some Q&A. If you have any Q&A for, that way it's more laid back, and you guys can ask some questions to John. So, John, we're just going to end it for a recording for the 2 hours because I have to crush it, and it's going to be like
Sure.
100 gigs.
Sure.
But we'll keep, so it'll go dark for you guys watching, but we'll bring the lights back on after I stop the recording, and you can ask John, or if you want to call in. It's kind of off the cuff, so
Yep.
everything goes. Facebook will have that kind of recording. So, John, thank you again for taking the time to come on here and talk with us. Good luck at CES. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, and we appreciate all you guys do for the community. We're 100% supportive.
And
Thank you so much.
We're honored. We're honored to have you on, and we're honored to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And guys, Glenn over here in his nicely renovated man cave there, where he moved everything over just for the show. Can you believe that? Just for the show, to make it look all professional and not in the dark and high definition and all its glory. Yes, Glenn's Retro Show. Check it out, youtube.com/Glenn's Retro Show. And you guys, what's John? What are you doing?
I'm Arcade1up.
Yes. Go to Arcade1up.com. That's your job,
No,
man. Arcade1up.com, man.
I was just checking the finger out. I said, which finger is he giving me? What are you doing?
Arcade. Well, here, John. I'll even do you one better. Okay, just
Okay.
because you're being a good sport about this here, dropping and everything's. Here we go. You guys can go check
There
it
you go.
out. Check it out on the web. You got the Black Series coming, $50 off for Black Friday. The special Marvel cabinet that everybody's been jonesing about, and all the list of all kinds of cabinets here that you guys can see, Wave 1, Wave 2, and I believe Wave 3.
Okay, let me add to that real quick. So at Walmart, we still got some special deals. We got Counter Case for $99. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still at $349. You can still find in some select places Galaga and Final Fight for $150. You're also going to be able to see Star Wars if you can find it at Walmart for $399, and you can find it as well at GameStop. So those deals are still around. Get them while it lasts.
Absolutely. And guys, make sure.
Oh, real quick. After you just said something. The party cades are out too. Not if everyone knows that, but you
Yes.
get party cades as well.
Oh, they're
Then,
sold out.
oh, they're sold out. Well, I
Sold
can
out.
definitely tell you that Willie over at Arcade USA just did a review of it, and he really, really liked it. So kudos again for that, for coming out with that. 'Cause that put it on your wall, put it on your door, put it on your desk. It's very customizable.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a few on my wall. That'd be great, right? To have it mounted just right there.
There you go.
I'm gonna do it.
Arcade1up, guys. Check it out, arcade1up.com. And then also For Glenn, you're also on the official Facebook page for Arcade1up. You guys go search that out as well as AtGames, and we're all just kind of pulling together here. We got to get you 10,000, Glenn. We got to get on that 10,000 so we can get that Legends Ultimate giveaway going.
Right. Hopefully,
before you get to 10,000, they should give like 100 away.
So what? Wait. Okay, so he opened up a box. Scott, I hope you're listening. So AtGames is going to give away one of the Legends Ultimate cabinets at 10,000. Just one.
Okay. Now we're saying one. Now he's saying one.
No, I'm saying if AtGames gets to 10,000, they should get more than one. I'm telling you. If we get to
wait a second. What's Arcade1up going to do for it?
Okay, so I'll tell you right now.
Oh, here we go.
If Arcade1up gets to 100,000, we'll give away 10. What's up?
10 arcades?
Yeah, why not?
Wow.
20? Want 20 for?
You're gonna do 100 now. So this is for Glenn's page, the official Arcade1up. Glenn, how many?
We're pretty close already.
Glenn, how many do you have right now?
No, we only have we have 12,000. We have about 12,300, I think, right now on the official Arcade1up fan page. However, it is growing by leaps and bounds every day. Yes. So I wouldn't put it past to getting to that point eventually. And to be quite honest, I'm just thankful we have that many people in the group, that many fans for Arcade1up in there, helping each other out. And again, having actual Arcade1up representatives in there. I mean, John's in there, Scott's in there, David's in there, and other people from the company are in there all the time. So I really am very thankful that they engage the population like that in the group.
Hey,
and that's just really nice of them.
You said if we get to 20,000, we'll give away 10. How's that?
All right.
So we've heard it. If that's official,
we're going to put it in there.
We'll give away 10.
We'll put it on the page. They're going to give away 10 Star Wars. I don't know, whatever ones they choose. But that's still very generous for the group, and we'll get that posted ASAP.
Well, again, guys, thank you so much. Those of you that are still here, stay around. You guys can call in. You can ask. We're going to do a little post show. But for the rest of us, go check it out. Arcade1up at CES. We're bringing constantly. Should we give them a hint of who's coming on next week? Should we drop that?
You know what? We've never done it before, and it's the holidays.
Wait. Glenn, let's do that. Let's talk in code like he does. So the guest has what? 3 letters?
3 letters and 2 numbers.
And 2 numbers. That's who the guest is for next week. So you don't want to miss that. And then after that, the week after that, we have a special celebrity joining us. Yes, he's an actual celebrity.
Very much so.
He's been in.
And it's not me. I'm already on the show.
Yeah. It's not Scott. He's already been on the show, and it's all those other guys. It's not Harold. Harold's been on the show too. It has to do with a certain 3-letter organization.
A sport.
Yeah. He's going to be on talking about a certain game that's going to be coming out, and also his embarkment into retro gaming in arcades. So you don't want to miss that. That's the next 2 weeks. We are jam-packed, Glenn. We've got some great content. So thank you guys for tuning in.
We have more people lined up after that. So again, I want to thank everyone who's come on and all the people who've agreed to come on. I'm very, very humbled by it and thankful. And this week we had a great episode, and next week we're going to have another great one, so don't miss it.
So since I always do the takeout, you take us out.
Oh man, you do it so well. I mean, me, I'm still thinking about my Atari 5-player.
All right, if you're gonna go down that road, then I'll do it. Guys, thank you so much. Episode number 4 is complete success. We love you guys, and stay around for those that are in the chat room. We're gonna do a live post show. But the rest of you guys, you gotta watch live to get the post show. We'll talk to you guys next time here on the Retro Buzz.